Oh, what's happening out there, Outrage crew? Just how in the fuck do you do? Oh, hope you had a wonderful Friday out there. We just ticked over to October 5th, 2019. And a long, arduous day coming to a close here, out here on these Postmates streets. Finally got $100 day in. Out here cruising around Beverly Hills. Cruising around, Bel Air. All in the rarefied air of the rich individuals out here in LA. Oh my goodness. Oh, we're looking to get some big tips, any way we can. We're hovering around the $600 mark right now. We got to get to $1,250. All right, so still lots of work to be done. Still on pretty goddamn thin ice out here. Heaven's out trying to make some money however she can. We're trying to hustle air conditioning units and whatever. But luckily for the Outrage Chancellor, his heart is still strong. All right, and we're still here defending Western civilization on the goddamn deck of the Outrage battleship. And we're, our heart is in it. It's in the fight. Unlike, that's more than we can say for Bernie Sanders. All right, who seems to be sweating it. No, I did not see the Joker movie. Oh, no, I did not see the Joker movie. I'm having to spend all of my goddamn waking hours that I'm not on the Outrage battleship, and I'm having to spend it in, that hatchback saddle out there on the Postmates streets, hustling up the goddamn rent money because I'm so fucking short this month. But we've got the heart. We've got the dragon energy. The rent money shall be collected. And I know the Outrage crew has my back. All right. PayPal.me/Outrage TV if you want to contribute to the roof preservation fund out here. We're trying to preserve the roof. I'm looking longingly at the roof right now for audio listeners. And it shall be preserved. All right. With the will of Western civilization, it shall be preserved. So it seems like Bernie is having a little goddamn heart procedure here. All right. A little attack. Everybody starts having goddamn health disasters as soon as they try to go up against Donald Trump. It makes them so goddamn nervous. Their body, their mind is telling them yes, but their body is telling them no. You don't want to go against Trump, dude. You don't want to get on that debate stage. Trump might just run unopposed. He might just win by default. All right, Elizabeth Warren. She doesn't get the, the diversity points for putting on a headdress and, pretending to be Native American. Joe Biden is just wrapped up in all kinds of criminal goddamn deep state cobwebs. Bernie Sanders has cobwebs forming over the goddamn aortas on his heart. Oh, what's happening, clean talking? I seen you out there posting them goddamn stand-up clips. I'm pissed off, alright, because I don't have any goddamn time to go up and do stand-up right now. Fuck! Oh, I gotta stay out and do the fucking Postmates because I'm still goddamn $650 short on my rent. And it's a dire situation, ladies and gentlemen. Alright, but we're doing what we can. I had a $100 day in today. Heaven's out there trying to scoop up shekels and whatnot. We still got a few days before they cash that check there. And we're going to make sure it clears. All right? God damn it. But right now, we're on the deck of the Outrage battleship. We got the goddamn Rolling Rocks. Yeah, I did not do the 10 o'clock tonight. Clean talking, I had to stay out there and keep doing Postmates. I had to get a couple extra hours of Postmates in. I got to do it. Son of a bitch. And I had a good little streak of stand-up every night going. And I hate to break that streak because I was getting some goddamn momentum. I was starting to kill every night. And god damn it. Pisses me off. I got to break the streak. But man, we got to make a lot of money in not a little time. Or not a lot of time. Yeah, it's going to pay off. We just got to keep, pumping them pedals on the bicycle. Sooner or later, we're going to cross that goddamn finish line to the, we're going to break through. And, Bernie Sanders' heart might break through his goddamn chest before he makes it, back up on stage to run in 2020. Who the fuck knows? Yeah, me and Clean Talking, we're putting together the next institution of the Death Row Comedy Show. Apparently, we're going to do it at the Fourth Wall Cafe. The new little Hollywood location they got there on Hollywood Boulevard. For some goddamn reason, they sell paninis, at the goddamn comedy club. They got a little cafe there that's selling paninis for some reason, and it's fine, dude. But the shows look packed out from what I've seen. I've seen Willie Mack posting clips and photos from the book shows he's been on over at the goddamn Fourth Wall Cafe. It looked pretty juiced up. All right, so we're gonna juice that motherfucker out and do another institution of the Death Row Comedy Show. We gotta get it filmed correctly this time with audio and the fucking clips, dude. And we're gonna do it up right. We got to get our lineup all filled out. We got to get it tight. But yeah, I hope the Outrage crew had a beautiful Friday out there. I was just out here, driving around listening to podcasts. Listened to some Legion of Skanks. Made me laugh, dude, with Bobby Kelly and Rich Voss on there. And listening to a little Industry Standard with Barry Katz, talking to a film producer that had worked with Quentin Tarantino a lot. And listened back to some of the Outrage cast there. And I'm liking the call-in feature. The call-in feature was cool, man. Getting people on the Skype. Getting them in here, taking these calls, chopping it up with the Outrage crew. It's very goddamn cool. I'm digging it, ladies and gentlemen. They got this headline on Drudge here. Subpoenas fly. Let's look at this article, dude. Impeachment probe reaches into White House with new subpoena. For the first time, the impeachment inquiry reached directly into the White House on Friday as Democrats subpoenaed officials about contacts with Ukraine, and President Donald Trump signaled his administration would not cooperate. Oh, that's good, dude. The demand for documents capped a tumultuous week that widened the constitutional battle between the executive branch and Congress and sharpened the political standoff, with more witnesses' testimony and documents to come. Trump said he would formally object to Congress about the House impeachment inquiry, even as he acknowledged that Democrats have the votes to proceed. They'll be sorry in the end, he predicted. Quote, I really believe that they're going to pay a tremendous price at the polls, Trump said. And it's true. It's obviously a last-ditch, nothing effort to try to come at Trump with this bullshit impeachment, because this is why up here. Because they know they're dead in the water with all their candidates, and they don't have a goddamn chance. You know, the guy who seems to have the most populist support among the public is Bernie, from everybody I talk to on the streets. And he's, you know, he's over there having his goddamn heart attack issues, dude. What up, Deadbeat 3K? Bernie's out there, you know, with a little stiffness in his chest. Oh, shit, dude. Deadbeat's out there in North Cackalack. You know, his sleep's all fucked up, dude. He's on that fucked up sleep schedule, and we appreciate it. You know, we're here defending Western civilization in the middle of the goddamn night. And Americans, you know, you gotta be a goddamn insomniac patriot to tune into the goddamn Outrage cast, dude. And it's you know, it's dedication, it's dragon energy, it's you know, the spirit of Thomas Jefferson that keeps those eyelids awake. Keeps those eyelids propped open. All right. And I want to read this article about the goddamn Bernie Sanders heart attack, and NBC News desperately wants to get some ad revenue from me. All right, you cocksuckers, you got it. Okay, Bernie Sanders had a heart attack this week, campaign says. Doctors diagnosed Sanders, 178 years old, with a myocardial infarction. Oh. A medical term for a heart attack. Oh, just a little infarction. That's all. And here he is walking out of the hospital being propped up by marionette strings. All right. Seemingly with a goddamn puppet stick up his ass. That woman next to him has a stick up his ass, and she's marionetting him on his way to the goddamn, you know, to the awaiting vehicles there. Senator Bernie Sanders was discharged from a Las Vegas hospital Friday after suffering a heart attack earlier in the week, his campaign said. Asked how he was feeling as he left the Desert Springs Hospital Medical Center, Sanders told NBC News, "Great. I feel great." Well, Bernie, you look great, all right? You're 178 years old, you're having heart attacks, and you think you're going to come in and defeat Donald Trump, and it's just goddamn hilarious, isn't it? Oh, my God, dude. What up, Alan James? What up, Skeezer? Skeezer says, can you believe some of this impeach Trump bull going on? That's what I've been talking about the last goddamn 4 streams. It's so patently obvious it's a fucking, you know, open and shut hit job scheme bullshit sandwich. All right? They're just, you know, for pointing out the crimes, all right, of Joe Biden and his cokehead son Hunter. All right? Trump is you know, they're attempting to impeach Trump. Don't point out our crimes. You know, wink, wink. We're all criminals in the political establishment. You know, it's a gentle little gentleman's agreement there that we don't go after each other. What's happening, trees? In a video posted Friday on Twitter, he echoed that sentiment. I'm feeling so much better. Oh my God! Look at this old cretin in this goddamn video. And his wife that looks like goddamn Fred Flintstone in a wig, dude. What is happening with his goddamn wife, dude? This is a weird scene right here. Let's look at this. His wife looks like John Belushi in a wig, dude.
Hello, everybody.
Oh my God. This really is Animal House, dude. God damn, she's almost more horrific when she smiles. Jesus Christ, she looks like a villain on a goddamn on a video game, dude. Look at that. Oh my God, look at Oh, fuck, dude. Look at goddamn Fred Flintstone.
Everybody, we're in Las Vegas.
Where's Wilma?
Just got out of the hospital a few hours ago, and I'm feeling so much better. I just want to thank all of you for the love and warm wishes that you sent to me. See you soon on the campaign trail.
I don't think so. He didn't even believe that. Did you hear the weakness in his voice right there? Oh my God. That's your big leader there. That's your, that's your populist front runner on the left, the socialist cretin. Deadbeat 3K says, don't these people get that Pence would be president if they impeach? Yeah, they don't think, any steps past the moment. Like, they don't think past the first level of Trump hatred. They're like, anybody but him, and they don't think any distance past that. And they're just like, we got to get rid of him. Fuck him, anybody but him. Because he's the legitimate outsider that threatens the deep state criminal establishment and threatens all the, the people profiting off of the status quo. And so they got to keep Trump and his administration on their back foot with all these horseshit investigations, the Russia witch hunt, and the impeachment nonsense in order for him to not actually get his agenda implemented. The Vermont independent senator, 78, was hospitalized Tuesday after experiencing chest pains at a campaign stop in Nevada. He was treated for what his 2020 presidential campaign described at the time as a blockage in one artery. But a statement from Sanders' doctors released through the campaign on Friday said Sanders, quote, was diagnosed with a myocardial infarction, a medical term for a heart attack. Quote, the senator was stable upon arrival and taken immediately into cardiac catheterization laboratory, at which time 2 stents were placed in a blocked coronary artery in a timely fashion. The doctor's statement said all other arteries were normal. They said he's made good progress in his recovery and was discharged with instructions to follow up with his personal physician. Oh my God. How long is it going to take him to get back on the campaign trail? They canceled a bunch of goddamn events. And he always looks like he's, all steamed up. And, he looks like a motherfucker with some high blood pressure. He's so, up there, goddamn capitalism. These people just want to have voluntary interactions. And it's unacceptable. Deadbeat 3K says, I heard Bernie got kicked out of a hippie commune for being too lazy. Might be a joke, but who knows? I could see it. Oh, he doesn't, it's all about, not having any responsibilities, He wants to be on that Timon and Pumbaa life, the Kuna Matata. It means no worries when you steal other people's money. Just rob their pockets. Don't work yourself. That's for suckers. Hakuna Matata. Just vote for communism. And Bernie can have his beachside mansion. And everybody else just starves. But that's okay for the tyrants. Ooh! Everybody else is going to have to live on goddamn caterpillars and termites they find, on the other side of the bark there in the goddamn forest. Hakuna Matata, he's taking your goddamn cheddar. Another Rolling Rock, dude. We're cruising through the Rolling Rocks fast tonight. Bernie Sanders got that problem-free philosophy. Not because there aren't problems, because he just doesn't want to think about them. You know? And all these cucked out comedians I hear talking about, oh my God, isn't it so amazing that Joe Rogan had, oh my God, Bernie Sanders on his podcast, and he was so brilliant and well spoken, and oh, I didn't know what to think about Bernie, but then I heard him elucidate his ideas in the podcast, and I listened to the entire podcast. He's just a moron who just demonizes capitalism and pretends that he has all the answers to step in and regulate industry and keep all these goddamn, corporate fat cats in line. And it's all this line of horseshit propagandizing you into thinking that you don't know how to spend your own money and the government needs to protect you from these predatory capitalists that make your iPhones and your goddamn automobiles and your planes and all of the goddamn technology and keep your lights on. The Affordable Pussy Act is what they want, dude. They can't get any goddamn pussy and they desperately want Bernie to hand them out some government pussy. You know? Alan James says Colonel Sanders would be disappointed with how Bernie turned out. Yeah, well, the Colonel has clogged many of an artery. All right, and it would be fitting if that's how Bernie went out. Alan James says, yeah, our news is how Trump has thrown it all on the line with asking China to investigate Biden. He did it on live TV. Yeah, it's so retarded that the talking point is that he's asking these world leaders to investigate Biden. No, what it is Trump is kind of just like, he's pointing it out like some shit talking. Like, can you believe this idiot, Joe Biden? He's kind of just like, this is who they're running against me. Can you believe this shit? Can you believe this moron just goes on YouTube and openly admits, all right, to his mafia tactics, withholding aid, and his cokehead son is clearly on the board of the company in which he fired the prosecutors investigating the company. Can you believe it? And then he says he didn't even know that his son worked at the company. Meanwhile, he's playing golf with one of the executives at the company and his son at the same time. Oh, they didn't talk about it, did they? Then he posts that meme. Look at this photograph. With the fucking Nickelback shit. And then, of course, Twitter takes it down because Nickelback's super cucked out. If I was Nickelback, I would have told him, fuck the copyright, leave it up. Deadbeat says, did you see the punching bag Bernie video? No, I did not. What's up, Raw Dog? Skeezer says Paul Ryan privately told Fox to prepare for impeachment, I guess. Paul Ryan is a goddamn snake piece of shit. I don't believe anything he's ever said. Raw Dog says, what's so bad about free pussy? Well, ask the women, all right, that are going to be forced to spread those legs for the Bernie bros. All right, maybe if the pussy is all provided by one individual, all right. In the Bernie Sanders plan, I believe it's Rosie O'Donnell who provides all the free government pussy to the Bernie bros, and she does it just because that's how much she hates Trump. She will take, tens of thousands of different Bernie bro cocks if that's what it takes to get Trump out of office. What's up, TMP? Deadbeat says wealth distribution is a joke. Yeah, because wealth, I think you're talking about redistribution, because wealth wasn't distributed to begin with. There's no centralized power that hands out the fucking money like Monopoly. There's no Monopoly banker who hands out the fucking money at the beginning of the capitalist game. You got to provide some goddamn value in order to accrue some currency. And that's what people who hate capitalism fucking don't understand. We got a Bernie boxing video on Discord here. Oh my god. That looks like Alan James is making some goddamn roast videos of the Outrage Chancellor. Let's see what he did here. Let's see the goddamn blasphemy that has been purveyed. I think dudes that like Russian women are kind of cucked out. I like short, thick women, dude. Look at this photograph. What in the hell? That did not look like a short, thick woman. Now that is more evidence of Alan James' fantastical imagination. All right, he likes to imagine the Outrage Chancellor in very, provocative sexual scenarios. And Alan James, I don't know, he just has a very, active imagination. All right, and it's very disgusting how much he imagines the Outrage Chancellor in different, sexual scenarios that don't exist. All right, and he's very imaginative boy out there in New Zealand. What's up, sweet chin? Oh, but we are feeling sorry for Alan James because he told me that he bought a 30-pack of beer earlier today, and it cost him goddamn $60. Or the equivalent of whatever the fuck New Zealand dollars are, dude. $60. That's insane. Alan James says, I like to imagine that's Don Morgan with you. I would definitely not be the small spoon with Don Morgan, dude. That's a very disingenuous, reimagination of what would happen. What's up, front hole? Do not say it's just another day in the back of the hatchback. That's not what's happening, dude. I enjoy, the thick-bootied women. That's what I enjoy. All right? I'm trying to get the waist smaller on the women I'm hanging out with, all right? But I enjoy the thick-booty women. All right? I don't enjoy these tall, masculine-looking, angry Russian bitches. I'm not into it. I know, it's goddamn robbery to pay $60 for a 30-pack of beer, but that's what he's got to deal with. Apparently the alcohol taxes are fucking unbelievable over there. And it's really goddamn criminal. I don't know what's going on with that New Zealand government. They seem very goddamn cucked out, And I'm saying New Zealand, but I know I'm thinking Alan James is from New Zealand. He's in Australia. So that's the Australian government that's doing that. And oh my God, I know Aussies like to drink. That is criminal. Frontal says your priority should be a woman who can pay rent. Yeah. At some point, we need to pay the goddamn rent. Heaven is out there, she's doing her best. What up, Simply A? Don Morgan wishes he could engage in some horizontal dancing with the outraged Chancellor, and it's patently obvious, but, he doesn't even have the heart, he doesn't even have the sack to get on the goddamn phone call with the outraged Chancellor. Skeezer says, how much she fucking owe you for rent, bro? More than last month? Yes, she's only paid me $200 out of her $725 that she owes for the rent thus far. All right. Apparently, her mother is dying, and she helped her mother out with $400 of aid there, of assistance. All right, and she gave me $200 so far. And they usually don't cash the checks until the 10th, but I'm still goddamn nervous. The checks could cash on the fucking 7th or the 8th or the 9th, dude. Nobody knows. But, we at least have until Monday. All right, the 7th. All right, we probably have until, until Thursday next week. Raw Dog has posted a very disconcerting meme with Rosie O'Donnell in some goddamn leather BDSM outfit, and it's very disgusting. Alan James says, is she paying the pussy eater rent? I doubt it. It seems like she is, she's holding up in the pussy eater's mother's basement there, and she's a stowaway. All right, seems to be what's happening. TMP says, Nick, let me eat your baby to stop global warming. Well, I don't have a baby, but, I don't think that request would go very far. I guess I'm going to watch this video that Alan James posted because everybody keeps making references to baby eating here. We need to eat the babies, says woman to Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. All right, let's check this out.
Be here for much long because of the climate crisis. We only have a few months left.
And she just solemnly nods when it's like, we only have a few months left. Like the psychosis is just is becoming contagious, and people are just nodding. Yes, we only have a few hours left. We only have a few minutes left. I mean, it's probably any second now. The entire planet is going to spontaneously combust because cow farts and airplanes. The fuck?
I love that you support the Green Deal, but it's not getting rid of fossil fuel. It's not going to solve the problem fast enough.
Oh my God! Could you sound more retarded? What in the hell? This bitch cannot even enunciate. I don't know what accent this is. Like, not only is she foreign, but she definitely has a little bit of the it seems like she whacked her head on the way in, and she has a little bit of Bernie Sanders in her. She had a little bit, it seems like a mixture of CTE, special ed, all right, and some kind of weird foreign accent. And, let's continue.
A Swedish professor saying that we can eat dead people, but that's not fast enough. So...
Wait. What? A Swedish professor said we can eat dead people, but that's not fast enough. We only have a few months, What the hell are you talking about? If the climate disaster is going to happen, we're going to supposedly be drowning. Why would we, it's not about a food shortage. This is just all, ex post facto rationalization for a straight up cannibal here. And look at how solemnly and seriously Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is. I don't even know if she might be dumb enough to be taking this shit seriously, but look at just the solemn look on her face, like, oh yes, we are in a grave position, and yes, I have considered, whether we eat dead people or babies, and yes, that Swedish professor, I guess, I've heard of that, and all the different scenarios, I've evaluated them, and oh my God, the fossil fuel evil! It's lifted billions of people out of poverty, and we have all this, fantastical transportation capacity, and electricity, and, goddamn transportation and 21st century technology. It's all powered by it, but throw it all away because of your ideology and hating humanity.
I think your next campaign slogan has to be this: we got to start eating babies.
Like this black woman right behind her looked up. She was checking her goddamn Instagram feed, and then she said, oh, wait, hold up now. Look at this black woman right here.
We got to start eating babies.
Say what, bitch? Oh my God, is anybody gonna start laughing?
We don't have enough time. There's too much CO2.
There's one woman back here who seems to get the joke. All right, despite her goddamn, cut off sleeve jacket here and lesbian haircut. All right, she seems to be getting it. Look at this chick right here. She's worshiping at the altar of this thing right here, of this ideology. It's like, oh my God, she's hit upon the point. She's the one that realizes it. This is the desperate for a cult leader face. It's between this chick and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez for her leader. Let's see who prevails.
All of you, you're a pollutant. Too much CO2. We have to start now, please. You are so great. I'm so happy that you're really supporting the Green Deal, but it's not enough. Even if we would bomb Russia, we still have too many people. Too much.
Even if we would bomb Russia, that's a big practical step we could take in fixing the climate. If we just nuke Russia, all right, we could be just fine, dude. Oh my God, the lobotomized propaganda at play. And look, nobody is even laughing at the thought of this. They're all taking it very seriously. Nobody's even laughing. Everybody's like, oh my God, maybe, they're all, so gullible and dumbed down. They're like, well, this chick is confident enough to stand up and talk. I mean, maybe she's got a point. I mean, who's got a baby? Whose baby are we eating first? Somebody tell me what to do. I'm looking for somebody with confidence. Anybody? Oh my God.
Much pollution. So we have to get rid of the babies. That's a big problem. Just stopping having babies is not enough. We need to eat the babies.
And it's nobody's laughing. Nobody's like, shut up, bitch. They're all just like, there's polite little chatter. Maybe we should eat the baby. I've had this thought too. And it's a point to be examined. All right. We'll take a note down. All right. We'll come back to it later. It's one of the possibilities. We have bombing Russia. We have eating the dead people. We have eating the babies. And, these are all salient points that have been brought up, and we're all going to evaluate them. We're going to construct, maybe a pie chart. 35%, bombing Russia. All right, 35% eating the dead people, and then maybe 30% on the babies. Because, the dead people, they're already dead, so we wouldn't have to, kill the babies or eat the babies alive. We'd have to skip that whole process. The dead people are already dead. We could just go ahead and barbecue them up. But, if it's babies, then we have to, decide whether to kill the baby or fry it alive, or do some kind of lobster, technique with the babies where we boil them, or something. We haven't figured that, these little technicalities out, or how we're going to bomb Russia, we haven't figured it out, but keep going.
This is very serious. Please give a response.
Thank you. No, thank you. We'll go ahead. Okay. No, we'll go ahead. It's so no. Yeah, no. Thank you. So I think
I'm just amazed at what mixture of drugs and low IQ and like trauma and just general retardation is going on here, dude. And there's finally one person who's laughing. All right, this based ass dude over here finally gets it. He's finally waking up and being like, why the fuck am I here? This is retarded. There's one person who gets the joke in the goddamn room right here.
Yeah, no, so one of the things that's very important to us is that we need to treat the climate crisis with the urgency that it does present.
She doesn't even address the psychopathy that just happened in that room. And she just continues right on with the talking point. Like, oh my God. She doesn't even address what just happened, dude.
Luckily, we have more than a few months. We do need to hit net zero in several years. But I think we all need to understand that there are a lot of solutions that we have and that we can pursue, and that if we act in a positive way, there's space for hope. We are never beyond hope. Okay.
Oh my God, how do you not at least make a joke, address it at all? Like, you can't address the psychopathy that was just displayed in front of you, in front of everybody. Like, the amount of humorlessness with these people, with their dedication to this retarded ideology. There's no place for humor because they're so insecure, and their ideology that they're attached to has such little connection to reality. They can't even step back and laugh at themselves. They can't have any humility because they're just so locked into this horseshit. It takes so much detachment from regular, everyday, waking existence to stay committed to this ideology that they have to be like, oh, well, eating the babies, that's one thing. But, you know, I think we do have more than a few months, and so let's try to stay positive. Okay. I mean, we don't have to eat the babies all right now. Let's just stay positive. Jesus Christ. What up, Denise? That was fucking insane. Aaron Freeman says she is LaRouche Pack. The chick that was asking the wonderful question there. Skeezer says, if everyone would just take some hits and think, they would be like, what the fuck was I spouting? You know, they definitely needed to pass around a joint after that just happened. You know? Oh my God. Sweet Chin says net zero carbon. Yeah, dude. It's so retarded. None of the alternative energy sources have proven sustainable or viable or energy self-sufficient whatsoever. It's all a goddamn pipe dream based on ideological horseshit. But that's what we were talking about in one of the streams a couple days ago, I think, is that's the root of this environmentalism religion, is hatred of humanity and seeing humans fundamentally as consumers instead of creators. And you're not giving any credit to human beings for what we've created in terms of invention and innovation and you know, building these modern 21st century technological societies, and you know, the systems of morality, and you know, technology, and just the explosion of prosperity that was created by the free market and, you know, individual freedom. Oh, none of that matters. You know, we're all just carbon, you know, output shit machines. We're just a virus on this planet. Oh, we're like mold on a sandwich. Oh, yes, we're just a consuming parasite that is destroying the planet. And that is the ideology of people who hate themselves and don't provide any value themselves to humanity, and so they project that on the rest of humanity and say, oh, we have no value to offer because I have no value and because I hate myself, and so therefore I hate the rest of humanity because they don't accept me. Meanwhile, they don't accept you because you're not providing anything. You're not entertaining. You're not fun to be around. You're not, inventing anything. You're not creating anything. You're not coming up with any good ideas. You're just sitting around complaining about all the damage to the planet. Oh my God. That's the root of it, is the hatred of humanity and anti-humanism. What's up, Dave Kranick? He says, got a question. Are you going to want to sell the 1911 45 ACP slide? Probably. I have no use for it myself, given that I don't actually own a firearm. And so, yes, I am looking to sell anything and everything I get my hands on right now in order to pay my goddamn rent because I'm in a hole and my back is against the wall. And yes, I was inquiring as to the prices I could get for the coin there, and I thought it was going to be, hundreds of dollars, and it turns out not the case. And it's not a slight to Florida Stacker. I imagine he gave it to me, to start a coin collection, but he also gave it to me, to help me out and, provide me some goddamn value where I needed it. And I'm sure Florida Stacker knew that, if it was between me selling the coin and getting evicted, I'm sure he would be enthusiastic about me selling the coin. But, it's not worth enough to even sell the coin. All right, so we're going to keep the coin as a little token of the appreciation of Mr. Florida Stacker out there. And TMP says coin. Florida Stacker sent me a silver coin there with Elizabeth II on it and a Superman symbol. Cool little goddamn coin there. Dave Krennic says, yeah, because I will engrave his name and Outrage TV on it to personalize it. Oh. You talking about the gun attachment there? I wouldn't, if you want to, go ahead. If you want to engrave it, I'll keep it as a token. All right. To remember Dave Krennic, the legend of the Outrage battleship, that's just fine with me, dude. Go ahead and do what it do. The Outrage Chancellor has to take a little piss here. And we gotta find the track here. Let's see. Where's the track I wanted to play? Here we go. All right, I shall return, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to crack another Rolling Rock and take an Outrage piss here. Aaron Freeman says, can't heaven cash in one of her investments? Dude. All right. She's an investment advisor. All right. Which means she advises people to invest in her. All right. It's a very circular endeavor. Doesn't seem to be working out very well thus far. All right. We're hoping, she can find some way to come up on some goddamn income, dude. Dave Krennic says, I have a complete 1911 minus the frame. You can get a frame for $250. I will send everything else. Well, all right. I'm sure I will be honest with you. It's going to be a long, it's probably going to be a while before I can spend $250 on anything other than my goddamn rent or tires for the Outrage hatchback. But, thank you, sir. All right. I'll accept it enthusiastically. TMP says, do you think America is done for, Nick / guys? Because I kind of do. We are crumbling from within like Rome. There's some truth to that. A lot of parallels to Rome. We're debasing the shit out of our currency. Our border situation is very Swiss cheese-like. The barbarians are invading from the southern border there. They're flooding our welfare state. We have entirely too many people on government assistance and, EBT cards and, baying and gnashing their teeth for free health care and for socialism and, hardcore authoritarian, collectivism. And we're also very spread out militarily, and Trump has not reeled that back nearly enough. He has not cut government. He has not cut entitlements. He has only cut taxes, which has only increased the deficit and only increased the possibility that we're going to have another economic crisis before 2020. And so it does look very dire. All right. What we have to hope for is that we can somehow free up enough individuals to be able to create businesses and start entrepreneurial endeavors in order to grow our way enough to lessen the blow when the economic crisis eventually hits again and when the bubbles start to pop again. And I think the internet is mitigating that with the spread of information that is unprecedented in human history. And I think cryptocurrency is going to be able to mitigate it a little bit because we're going to have, another currency to switch over to when the dollar goes through its inevitable crisis. But the dollar is still the world reserve currency. We still are pimping most of the other, developed nations in the world based on our military strength and might and based on our cultural relevance around the world. And so we are, theoretically propped up like that, but we can only, our economy can only take so much pressure from, stretching thin through the welfare state and all these, tens of trillions of unfunded liabilities we have. And also the military industrial complex continuing its goddamn ransacking rampage through the Middle East. And so we're being stretched thin at both ends, and there's not a lot of prosperity that is being unleashed because the government is still way too goddamn big, and you need a license, and you need to comply with all these regulations in order to do anything in the goddamn economy. And so it's not looking good. What we have to hope for is that we get through this impeachment horseshit. Trump wins in 2020, and he can sidestep any of their other obstructionist tactics and begin to cut government and bring the troops home and seal off the border and reduce the size of the welfare state and cut the entitlements slowly but surely. That's the only way it's going to work. That's the only way that we're going to be able to grow our way out of this situation. Other than that, if we keep just going deeper and deeper into debt and being spread out militarily and pretending that we can, give people all this free shit through the government, it is not looking good for the future of Western civilization here in America. Owen James says, Dave, clean talking can steal any tools Nick needs. Fuck. Dave Krennic says, Nick, do you have a friend with a garage that has some tools? I have no friends here in Los Angeles. My ideology has totally, isolated me. Clean Talking John and Kevin Pollard Jr. are basically my only, consistent friends out here. And it's very sad. Because I haven't talked to Kevin Pollard Jr. ever since he was off the Death Row Comedy Show. All right, I don't know what. He's in goddamn financial turmoil just like I am. But we're pushing through for Western civilization. Denise says this is a great time for America. Well, yeah, because we're still in the middle of a bubble. We're in the middle of multiple bubbles right now. And so it seems like the economy is a lot better than it is. But we're on a very, very shaky foundation. Aaron Freeman says 20% from a functional weapon, the Nick Jordan story. Dude, that is not my story. That is not my story, dude. All right, Dave Krennic is apparently sending a sword my way. That will be a 100% functional weapon. Denise says balance that out with what good is happening. Well, Trump hasn't been impeached. The media and the political establishment have been totally discredited. Most mainstream news outlets, most mainstream entertainment outlets have been totally discredited. We still have we have the internet. We have the communicative capacity never before seen in human history, and we can spread the information. We can spread the ideas that are necessary to dig our way out of this hole. But we have a big goddamn hurdle of propaganda and of dumbed down, of dumbed down people who are not open to new ideas and very easily triggered by anything somewhat controversial. And so they're hard to get through. They're hard to get through to, and that's why I've picked comedy to try and talk about the ideas, because you can communicate a lot more harsh truths through comedy than if you're like claiming to be some serious intellectual. Like, you see what's happened to Stefan Molyneux. Stefan Molyneux is a serious heavyweight intellectual. And so he goes on his YouTube show and talks about race and IQ and the welfare state and the excesses of government, and he's a libertarian anarchist, and he does all these serious presentations with facts and data and reason and evidence, and he breaks it all down, and he does it in a very intense way. And what does that get him? It gets him labeled by the Southern Poverty Law Center as some kind of goddamn white supremacist Nazi. And they have all. I think it's either the Southern Poverty Law Center or the Anti-Defamation League. But if you've ever listened to any of Stefan Molyneux, like, let's just look at his Wikipedia page. I was looking at it the other day. They have totally destroyed Stefan Molyneux's character in his Wikipedia page. Stefan Molyneux is one of the most brilliant thinkers of our time. He preaches peaceful parenting, which is essential to having a better future in the country. If we stop beating our kids, they'll stop accepting government. They'll stop accepting the violence of government. He, argues against the greatest evil of our time, the government. and he argues against taxation, and he's a principled anarchist libertarian. And he points out the main weak point of this identity politics, egalitarian, we're all equal leftist thinking, which is the IQ statistics and the race and IQ connection. That, you know, overall the races differ in IQ, and it can do a lot, whether it's genetic or environmental or a mixture of the two. It goes a long way toward explaining the differences in outcomes among racial groups, and it goes again. It flies directly in the face of the oppression narrative that that you know, white people and Jewish people and Asian people are doing better than black and Hispanic people because they're just oppressing them and they're just evil and they're keeping them down. The race and IQ statistics, IQ correlates to income and general success in life. And so it totally debunks that oppression narrative, and it gives a simple explanation for it. And Stefan Molyneux has talked about that a lot, and he's also talked about, you know, the troubles with having open borders and a welfare state at the same time. And that's largely why he, you know, came out and supported Trump on his channel. And ever since he's done that, they have because he's so principled and he's so reasoned and he's so logical and he backs everything up with statistics and hard science, and he supports Trump, they had to smear his character. So here's what his Wikipedia page says now. Stefan Molyneux is a far-right white nationalist Canadian podcaster and YouTuber who is known for his promotion of scientific racism and white supremacist views. Scientific racism, just pointing out the differing averages in racial IQs, is racism. Oh, you're hate facts, dude. It doesn't mean any individual you meet that's black or Hispanic can't have a 180 IQ. There are plenty of brilliant black and Hispanic people. It just means on average, they have lower average IQs than white people, Ashkenazi Jews, and East Asians. And they compensate in other areas. Black people can dunk, and they got big dicks. Hispanic people, well, you know, I mean, they make damn good food. I don't know, you know, they can shake maracas, you know. I don't know, you know, I'm not that familiar with Mexican culture. It's fine, dude. Molyneux is described as a leading figure of the alt-right movement by Politico and Washington Post, and as a far-right activist. Oh my God, because he wants individual freedom. He's far-right, and he's basically a Nazi. Has a perverse fixation on race and IQ, as if it's just a fixation. It's just an emotional obsession of his. It's not just an important statistic that flies in the face of leftist narratives and debunks their narratives. Oh, it's just a racist obsession of his. Freedomain internet community, which Molyneux leads, has been described as a cult, and Molyneux has been described as a cult leader using cult indoctrination techniques on his followers. Oh, because he's charismatic and presents legitimate information that is very important to, you know, debunking cultural narratives that are laid upon us as propaganda in our lives. That makes him a cult leader. Oh, he's dangerous. No, the cult leaders are the public school teachers and the Common Core curriculum. Those are the real cult leaders. And Stefan Molyneux is a good principled philosopher, and this is what it gets you. And so he doesn't have the comedic angle to what he's doing. And comedy is a way to give some sugar with the medicine. He's giving you all medicine and it's 100% serious. And so everything he says is underlined as like, this is what I absolutely believe. But if you do it with jokes, all right, you get a lot more leeway. Oh, if people want to call in, go ahead, dude. Let me open up the Skype. Sorry, I had to go on a little rant because that shit really pisses me off about Stefan Molyneux. He's a great man, and he's a great thinker of our time, and he's just being slandered mercilessly. Sweet Chin says, look up Joe Rogan's Wikipedia. Why? Do they lie about him too? James Thompson says he tells people to estrange themselves from their family if they disagree with his philosophy. He is fixated on it. No, that is not. That is not what he says. I've listened to basically every episode of Stefan Molyneux, everything he's ever done. And that is a slanderous mischaracterization of what Stefan Molyneux says. And it goes back to what I've talked about before. The genetic happenstance of you sharing some biological similarities with your family does not mean you have any extra connection to them compared with any other people when you're talking about morals. I mean, your family, especially your parents, they have an extra responsibility to be good to you because they either chose to have you or they chose to keep you. They didn't put you up for adoption, and so they have a responsibility to not abuse the shit out of you and be good to you. And so if they are not, you have a right to confront them and be like, hey, this was fucked up. Why did you treat me like that? And if they double down and say, no, we did the best with whatever we had, and you were a troublesome kid, and we had to. Oh, I missed the call. Sorry, James Thompson. I didn't hear it. Oh, here's Dave Cranick. Sorry, I didn't have the sound on there. But I will debate James Thompson on this topic because I think he's thoroughly misinformed on Stefan Molyneux. What's up, Dave?
Hey, what's going on?
What's happening, buddy? I'm just here arguing for peaceful parenting and the philosophical principles at the root of it that shall lead us into a better future for Western civilization.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm kind of stoned right now.
Oh, that's good. Stoned on what? On weed or something else?
No, they gave me a morphine pump.
Oh, morphine. There you go, dude.
I'm pretty high right now. I'm just in a lot of pain.
Sorry, James Thompson, you're next in line. All right, we're talking to Dave Cranick right now. What's on your mind, Dave?
So I'm going to send you an 80% frame. So what an 80% frame is it has to be completed. Feed ramp and rails and the safety hole and the firing pin hole needs to be drilled. But there's a jig that comes with it. And if you go on YouTube, there's probably 1,500 videos on how to complete it.
Well, beautiful. That sounds good, dude.
So I'll send you an 80% frame, and then I'll send you the slide. And are you sure you want it? Do you want it personalized?
That sounds good to me, but the main thing on my mind right now is
I'm gonna send you another slide.
Okay. I was getting ready to say the main thing on my mind right now is I'm not gonna have the funds to complete it anytime soon, and so it'll just kind of be sitting around as something to be completed in the future. And so it's not going to, it'll just be kind of, a token of the Dave Cranick, gift there. And I do appreciate that. I'm not going to have any money to complete it.
I have another slide. I was going to give it to my brother-in-law, but he's a fucking cocksucker, so. So I'll just give it to you. Well, he's been bitching that I haven't given him anything, so I was like, fuck it.
Well, it's sad to hear that, dude, that your family is so goddamn petty.
Oh, they are, and it's... My sister came around today, and she looked at me, she's like, you look like shit. And I'm like, I'm fucking dying. What do you expect, you dumb bitch?
Yeah,
So,
that's fucked up, dude.
yeah. It's all good. And yeah, she was like, so what's that thing on your hip? And I'm like, that's my morphine pump, so I'm not in pain. And she's like, oh, so this is serious, huh? I'm like, just get out of my house. I'm done with you, just, And then my mom called me. She's like, why are you being so mean to Trish? And I'm like, because she's a stupid bitch. Because she doesn't know anything about anything. She just wants a handout. And it was funny because my mom was bitching about her because my sister asked to borrow $1,500 to pay her rent and her car payment this month because she doesn't have any money. And I'm like, I wouldn't give her anything. And my mom's like, well, you don't have to be like that. And I'm like, yes, I do. I'm like, she's like, and then my mom started getting on my case about it. I'm like, so don't worry about my funeral. Don't worry about anything. I don't want a funeral. I don't want, I just go and take my ashes up to Pikes Peak and spread my ashes on top of Pikes Peak.
Yeah, and that goes back to what I was talking about earlier. Like, just because you have a genetic similarity with people in your family doesn't mean you have some magic allegiance to them if they're shitty people. Like,
exactly.
Like it's a matter of like how they interact with you as another human being. Like, people expect this instant attachment and like forever like allegiance because you share some of the same genetic code, and it's like it was all a genetic accident to begin with. You didn't ask to be born into your family, and so it's like, to me, that accident of genetics means that you should be extra good to the people in your family. It's not that you should you could be shitty to them and then expect them to have a relationship with you either way. It's like, that's the total opposite thing. That's the lazy way to take it. It's like, oh, well, they're family. They're going to be around either way, so I can just be a shitty fucking asshole. And it's like, no, that's the opposite. Like, they didn't have a choice to be connected to you genetically, so you should treasure them even more and be extra good to them.
So I told you my friend Chris is going to contact you. He has all your information after I pass away. And that's my best friend. We served together in the military. He's a stand-up dude. He's going to meet you somewhere in order to give you the shotgun too.
Right on.
So
whereabouts is he?
He's here in Colorado.
Okay.
So he'll drive halfway to cut. He'll get a hold of you, and you guys can meet up somewhere. So he'll meet you wherever you want, like on the border of California. I know he won't go into California, by the way.
Oh yeah, is that a principled thing or?
Yeah, he hates California.
All right.
So, but the funny thing is the only thing that Hello?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, sorry, phone was beeping or something. So the funny thing is the only thing that my family, I went out and I bought 10 99.999% silver from Noble Gold. They're Trump coins, and that's all that my family's gonna get from me is Trump coins, just to piss them off.
Oh, that's beautiful.
They want to be petty, I can be a fucking cocksucker.
Oh, turnabout is fair play. I like that, dude. Dave Craddock's doing the punchback just like Trump against the media, dude. You want to go for low blows? We can do it. We can do it right in return.
You know what sucks is fucking morphine makes you fucking itch so bad.
Oh yeah, the opiates morphine is an opiate, right?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
the original opiate.
Yeah, because I've done OxyContin one time and it felt really good for like 30 or 40 minutes, and then it was just like tingly fucking itch after that.
Yeah, like your face and shit. My nose itches so bad right now.
Yeah, your face gets all hot and shit, and you feel like you're in a wool blanket.
Well, technically, I have a 20-day supply of morphine on my hip right now. And if I wanted to, I could just sit there and hit the button as many times as I want and kill myself that way if I really wanted to. I don't have a regulator on it.
Well, we're not going to advise you on any of that activity live on the internet, but, Dave Kranig's the big boy. He can do what he likes. Well, tell you what, it sounds like you want to rest up and everything, and it was definitely good chatting with you, but we got other people wanting to call in.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I just wanted to call and let you know what was going on. And I was checking my back stock. I'm also going to send a couple scales with it. Some Damascus grips that I made for 1911. And it'll sort of match, not quite exactly, but if you complete the 1911 45 ACP, technically it'd be worth about $4 or $5 grand, but because it's not registerable, because it's an 80% frame, it's not worth very much.
Okay.
So,
well,
just to let you know, it'd be hopefully priceless to you.
Well, I feel very I'm filled with gratitude that the Outrage crew has helped give you some enjoyment and feeling of a little community here and everything, and that you feel like sending me stuff that's tremendous, dude, and you're a bad motherfucker, and we wish all the best for you.
So the sword will come in a tube. It'll be in a PVC tube that's all wrapped up in bubble wrap and all that kind of stuff. And then I'm going to send you all the parts and pieces in a Pelican box that has foam inside of it and everything for the 1911. So, and then it's a full size 5.5 inch government issue or government. It's not a commander or anything like that. It's not a short one. So it'll be a full size 1911.
Well, that's beautiful, Dave. Again, thanks a million. You're the fucking man, and we're glad to have you on the Outrage Battleship, and we still are holding out hope that you're going to recover. And
there's no chance in that, dude.
Well, I'm saying atheistic prayers, dude. All right, don't get in the way of my atheistic prayers. All right.
But it's okay. I'm cool with this. I really am. I'm so tired with everything. So, but I want to give my friends something to remember me by.
Absolutely. That's a beautiful sentiment.
And I consider you a friend. So.
As do I.
So.
All right. Well, we'll let you rest up, and we'll get some of the other the Outrage crew here are salivating here to get on the call line.
All right. Hey, I just want to say a shout out to Alan James. What's up, bro? So.
There it is.
I'll talk to you later.
All right, brother. We'll talk to you later. Love you, Dave.
All right. Bye.
Bye-bye. Hello, is this James Thompson here? Hello. Hello. You're on. Mute the goddamn stream there. Hello. This doesn't seem like James Thompson. James Thompson knows how to use Skype.
No, this is TMP.
TMP. Well, I'm sorry. I did promise James Thompson that he was going to be next. All right, so we're going to take James Thompson's call, but we'll get to you next, buddy.
Yeah.
Nicholas.
Hey, what's up, James?
Hello, Nicholas. Good morning. How are you?
Doing well, sir. Just let me grab another beer here. How you doing?
I'm quite all right, thank you.
Let me engage in some of the unapproved James Thompson behavior. All right, more drunkard activity. All right. And I'm sure you're doing unapproved things on my end. I'm sure you're in the bubble bath.
I'm actually being rather late today. I'm still in bed. In England, we say that an Englishman's home is his castle, and you're quite welcome to do whatever you want in your house. The fact is that you just have to live stream your household activities to the world, so it gives people like myself and others in the audience the opportunity to criticize your lifestyle choices.
And it's beautiful. I enjoy all criticisms. All right, that's how that's how we sharpen the sword.
Well, I'm going to criticize you today for being a huge Stefan Molyneux fan, because he's a bit of a douche nozzle, isn't he?
Well, that's not really an argument of a criticism there, is it? That's kind of just an insult.
No, well, that's where I'll start. But you are aware, because
and it is. I'll just point out, it is kind of a red flag that you would start with the insult in order to poison the well, but continue.
I don't know. He infuriates me. He's I think that actually some stuff he's probably quite good on, but it's the whole separating from your family because they don't agree with you on taxes thing that I just can't get my head around.
Well, that's one thing that he's not really major on. I think his main thing is not being beholden to your family that abuses you, and not requiring you to continue a relationship with an abusive and unrepentant family member. I think is the main thing when he talks about defooing or separating from your family of origin.
Yeah, I think and I've seen him say it, and I don't think he touches on it quite as much as he used to, but he would instruct people to go to their family and say, "Oh, mother, father, do you believe that I should have to pay taxes?" And then, the mum and dad would go, "Oh, yes, we do. We believe taxation." They'd go, "Oh, you believe putting a gun to my head and threatening to kill me because I by force and all this." And he'd turn what would otherwise be a nice conversation with his family into them threatening to shoot you dead if you don't want to pay taxes, and sort of twisted it around that way, and then encouraging people to break away from their family on the basis of that.
Well, you would have to agree there is an implicit threat there for individuals who do support the state's power to extract your money for taxes, that they would support the use of force against you, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's true, but I don't see that being as any reason to break up with your family.
Well, if you're getting mugged on the street, in the simplest example of it, and someone in your family supports it, how much could you actually say you love that person after that? If they say that they support that happening to you, you being threatened, at the point of a gun, and threatened with being thrown in a cage where you're likely to be raped.
But that's the suggestion that taxation is the same as being mugged on the street, which it absolutely isn't. I mean, I'm sure what my parents would probably say to me if I didn't want to pay taxes, they'd say, go and live somewhere where you don't have to pay taxes then.
Well, that's a disingenuous argument because there's no place where a government doesn't exist. But I would argue that taxation is worse than being mugged because taxation is culturally endorsed. When you're getting mugged on the street, most people would recognize that that's wrong. But when you're objecting against taxes on a principled basis, people are so propagandized into accepting the tax system and accepting the government ruling over them that it's culturally endorsed, and you're looked at as a crazy person for opposing it, as opposed to when you oppose being mugged on the street, everyone would understand that. But you're looked at as some kind of cultural outcast for saying that taxation is theft when it's just a baseline fact.
Well, I think you've got to be clear in what you mean anyway, because only income tax could be considered theft. Any sales tax comes from a voluntary transaction. So we're not just talking about all tax, we're talking about only income tax. Now, I'm pretty sure there are places in the world where there's very, very little tax, or there's only a service tax. It's not something I spend a huge amount of my time worrying about, because I haven't got caught up in the whole taxation is theft thing quite as much as you have. But the thing is that most people accept that some level of taxation is necessary to pay for the society we live in. And if you don't accept that, go and live in another society where you're happy with the level of taxation, whether that be just a sales tax or a very low income tax.
No, it's not about the practical implementation of it. Just go live somewhere where it's more suitable to your personal preferences. No, it's an objective moral principle that taxation is theft. And so it's kind of like saying that most people in the early 1800s in America accepted that slavery was just another part of life. And if you didn't want to be a part of the slavery system, well, you should just go live in another country where they don't have slavery. Meanwhile, every other country had some form of slavery going on at the time. And so it's a disingenuous argument to avoid the moral reality that's happening, in my opinion.
So that taxation and slavery are on the same sort of level in terms of moral wrong? Because the slave, and you're talking about it from the point of view of the taxpayer, which would be the same point of view of the slave. And if you just said to slaves during the slavery era, you can stay here and be a slave, or you can get up and cross the border to Mexico and be free. I think if slaves had that choice, they probably would have crossed the border to Mexico to be free. So I don't think that's quite the same thing.
Well, that's assuming that they wouldn't be, captured as slaves in Mexico. You don't think that those Mexican societies had their own version of slavery going on? I mean, the especially going back into history. I mean, the Aztec societies and the Mayans, they definitely had slave labor going on. They had horrific religious sacrifices and all this kind of horrific shit going on in their society. So, I mean, this argument where it's like, well, just go where, it's not happening. Well, that assumes all these things. Like you have to, be able to cross borders. You have to, switch your entire way of life from where you were born. And there's all this burden upon you to take action in order to avoid this obvious moral evil that's being purveyed upon you. And it's a way of avoiding the moral reality that's happening. And it's just like, well, you don't accept, being made into a tax cattle, and so just go somewhere where you're less of a tax cattle. And it's like, no, how about we just question the idea of turning somebody into a goddamn tax cattle in general?
Well, so leaving because of taxation is something that people quite regularly do, isn't it? I mean, look what happened in France when they raised the taxes incredibly high. People are quite free to leave and go to another country. This is something that really happened in the real world. people move around quite a lot based on the taxation rate. People leave New York because the taxes are free.
Right, and there are countries. There were countries during slavery where the privileges of the slaves were much better than other countries. Like if you were caught up in the Arab slave trade and you were a black person, you were going to get your genitals hacked off, and it was going to be very goddamn traumatic and very, you know, oppressive. But if you're a house nigga living in the living on a southern plantation, and you're like you know, the Samuel L. Jackson character in Django Unchained, well, your life is much more privileged than the slave in Saudi Arabia. And so it's like you're just telling the Saudi Arabian slave, well, if you don't like getting your genitals chopped off, how about you just go and move to Alabama, and then you can be a house nigga and it'll be fine. And it's like, it's so disingenuous to just tell people to pick up and move their entire life into another culture just to avoid an obvious moral evil that's happening to them.
So slaves didn't have the freedom to do that. But it would be like if you were a Christian moving to Saudi Arabia and saying, "Oh, well, you know, I must have the freedom to practice my religion here." Well, you don't have to live in Saudi Arabia. You can live in many countries in this world. You can find one that suits your moral philosophy if you want. Or in your case, you can't. And this is the point that I get at.
Well, that also assumes a financial liquidity to be able to pick up and move. Like, I don't have the money to pick up and move all my possessions and just go and move to another country. I don't have the capacity to do that. A lot of people don't have the financial freedom. I'm barely paying my rent here, James Thompson.
You can't be a great tax cattle if you haven't got the financial liquidity to do that.
Well, I'm definitely not a good tax cattle. I still haven't filed for this year. All right, they're waiting with, you know, their criminal bated breath for me to file my taxes.
Right, maybe you're sucking at the teat rather than being milked.
My milk is definitely spoiled at this point. All right, but they still want it.
But here's the thing. I mean, your mother and father, right? We've talked about them before, and I'm sure they're quite sensible people. Are they in favour of some sort of taxation? Do they accept that that's quite reasonable in a civilized society?
I haven't had real in-depth conversations with them about it, but they're generally conservative. They generally support smaller government. They definitely don't.
Right.
They definitely don't enjoy being taxed. They want as little government as possible, and I bet if I pushed them on the principles, they would accept that taxation is theft. But I haven't had that in-depth of a conversation with them about it. They are very conservative. They support a really small government. So,
okay, fine. I mean, I think most conservatives do support a small government. They just don't go the extra steps, say there should be no government and no taxation. But Stefan Molyneux implored you to go, mother, father, why do you want to put a gun to my head, mother and father? You're abusing me. That's what he's doing. That's what he does. Why haven't you? You're actually not fully in his cult yet. If you've not had that conversation with your parents who hate you and want to put a gun to your willy hole or whatever.
Well, you're making this very visceral scenario, in splitting hairs with the argument of what it is what you're referring to is the Stefan Molyneux argument. He calls it the against me argument, and he makes it in this talk that he gave. I think it was back in like 2012 or 2013. It was at this, Libertarian Freedom Conference. And the entire talk was how to debate and how to win debates as a libertarian. And so what he's doing is it's mainly a debate tactic to wake people up to the violence of the state. To wake people up that is the fundamental reality that it comes down to when you are supporting the existence of a government. You're supporting the gun to the head of your peers and your family and the people you consider friends and family and that you claim to love. But if you support a government and if you support them being pursued by the IRS for not paying their taxes, there is an element of the threat of violence against these people that you claim to love that you are supporting. And so there is a bit of a hypocrisy, you would have to admit there. If you claim to love someone, but you would support the violence of the state being purveyed upon them if they didn't pay their money to the mafia. That to me was his main point. Not that you should pedantically go to your parents who, 99% of their actions toward you are benevolent and loving and they support you and, they're generally against the government, but you would go to them and be like on this last hair, be like, but you want to put a gun to my head. It's not about that. The main thing was about debating non-libertarians, debating statists, and trying to wake them up and spread the ideas of libertarianism and spread the ethics that underpin libertarianism and anarchism. That's what it meant to me.
Well, I'm not sure that's how he positioned it. I think he positioned it in a slightly different way, and I think he stepped away from it because a lot of people realised how ridiculous it was. And as for the other things that he does, I mean, this is another reason, and this is why I call him a dick nozzle, and why I do think he's a bit of a... He is a bit of a trend follower. If you look at the way he's gone over time, when New Atheism was trending and it was cool to be against God and Christian Hitchens was still alive, he was well into the whole, atheism thing. And now if you listen to him, he's coming around to Christian values, morals, principles. Despite his book about his weird version of morality. And then the same with the race and IQ thing. Now that the alt-right started to trend, he got really into the race and IQ thing, and it made me think, well, how grounded are you? How strong are you was actually, or how much are you just trying to jump on a bandwagon?
Those 2 points, I think you have to evolve as a thinker based on what's happening in society in order to remain relevant, in order to remain a part of the conversation, in order to connect with your audience. And so with the atheism thing, he's explained this in detail. He's what he described it as was a realization that the majority of atheists, once they come to atheism, they then shift over from their allegiance to God to their allegiance to government. And so there's a lot of leftist atheists that once God is removed from the equation, they shift over to this materialistic Machiavellian point of view where it's all about acquiring power through the state, and they become communist in order to, the state becomes their new God in essence. And so that's a big trend in atheism. Most atheists are leftists who are heavily statist and want to implement, their leftist agenda through the state, through the use of violence. And so I think what he's looking at with Christians is they tend to be much more against the state, and they do have universal principles of morality, wherein the leftist atheists tend to be nihilist, they tend to be amoral, they tend to not care about ethics because they've cast ethics aside. They've thrown the baby out with the bathwater. They've gotten rid of the religion based on, the metaphysics getting debunked. And I do agree with the that's how I came to atheism, is the debunking of the metaphysics of religion. But they throw the ethics out with the metaphysics, and they have no ethical system. And so they end up justifying state violence and the practical use of the state to wield power and implement their agenda. And it becomes this amoral, race to the bottom, Lord of the Flies type of thing. And so that's why I think he's had more of an allegiance toward Christians, is because they at least are in principle against the state, and they want a smaller government, and they want to have universal ethics, and they want to, express those universal ethics and have that be the backbone of society instead of trying to implement your ideas through the state. And then the second point, what did you bring up? Sorry, I forgot.
So it was the fact that he happened to jump on the Christian trend just as it was becoming popular on the right.
The race and IQ thing. The race and IQ thing you said.
Yeah, the racing IQ thing. Yeah, like I say, look, this is something. What Charles Murray wrote about it. Was it in like the 90s or like the late 80s? This is something that's been around for ages. But
Right.
suddenly the alt-right's trending, and look who gets interested in racing IQ stuff.
Well, I think what it has to do is the immigration issue that Trump really raised into the public consciousness, because a huge problem with the immigration thing is these people that are coming in are largely lower IQ than the average population of the United States, and it does take a certain level of IQ in a population to have the deferral of gratification, to not take the easy way out of the welfare state, and to not vote for socialism, and to instead choose to invest in themselves and want more individual freedom and want to build things entrepreneurially, want to start small businesses. That's generally a high IQ endeavor, or at least 100 IQ. But it tends to be, and the statistics back this up, that the people that are migrating into this country illegally or legally tend to be coming from these countries that have big corrupt governments that tend to support socialism, and they tend to come in and support the welfare state and support the rise of socialism and support the growth of the state. And so I think making that race and IQ argument does lend to the anti-immigration argument. That we what we don't need is more lower IQ people coming in and voting for socialism and big government in order to, siphon off the wealth from the productive classes.
I have to say that it is probably the worst argument you could make against immigration, is to say we don't want these low IQ darkies coming over here. I mean, yes, we're going to win, level-headed, mild-mannered people to your side. Keep these dumb darkies up. Low IQ, unlike us smart white men with our, who've done all these online tests that show that we've got 150 IQs. No, that's a ridiculous argument against immigration.
Well, the statistics are that they vote for bigger government, and they come in and get on the welfare state, and so typically high IQ individuals don't do that. They come into the United States in the modern 21st century technological society we have, and they tend to integrate into it and provide value to it. The immigrants that come over here that are higher IQ, they tend to assimilate much more easily, because you have to have an extra level of IQ buffer in order to, have the, impetus to come over here, especially if you're coming, all the way from across the world and you're totally changing cultures. You have to come over here and learn another language. You have to learn another culture. You have to come in here and contribute to the free market. You have to find a way to start a business or get employed or, and contribute. And that's a high IQ endeavor. And so if you're coming over here and getting on the welfare state immediately and is seeking government assistance, as overwhelmingly the majority of these illegal and legal immigrants are, it's not a net benefit to our country. And at some point you have to say, what's in it for us continuing to let these people in as long as we have this big giant welfare state to be taken advantage of? Are you there?
Yeah, I'm there. Sorry, you were just talking about, how it's not a good idea to have these stupid darkies come over because they leech off the taxpayer. Right?
Well, they tend to vote for big government, all right, and get on the welfare. Fuck.
Yeah, this is the thing. It's like tactics has to come in somewhere. Can you imagine Trump, right, standing on the world stage and being like, these Mexicans, they're taking our job, and they've also got lower IQs. It's scientifically proven.
Well, I don't have a problem with them taking jobs if they come in and contribute to the economy. I'm an anarchist libertarian, dude. I don't give a goddamn. If we don't have a big welfare state, I don't care who comes into the country, what color they are or what IQ they are. I don't give a fuck, because the low IQ people are going to be cut out of the equation either way when they attempt to come over here and migrate to the country and assimilate and be productive in the free market. They're not going to be able to make it, and they're just going to have to move back home. But if they have that other option to leech off of the welfare state, they're just going to take that option and bleed the country dry.
But that's where you should attack the argument. Just say if you're an immigrant.
Sorry, you just got really quiet there. I can't hear you.
So,
Now you're breaking up. I don't know what's happening. Are you there?
So, in England, or in the UK, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
So, in the UK, I've got people in my very close family who have a great idea. Do you know how much money they get off the welfare state? Or they're able to get off the welfare state?
Say it one more time. I'm sorry.
If you immigrate to the UK, you can get nothing from the welfare state. Surely it's better just to make that argument and say, if you want to come here, great, but we're not going to give you anything. Not go, yeah, you can come here, but you have to have passed an online IQ test.
Yeah. I mean, that's the main thing is I'm talking about with the IQ thing, is they're going to tend to get on the welfare state. If you made a requirement that they can't come in here and immediately get on government benefits, that would solve the problem. All right, that would be fine. That would be a fine measure to implement. But the left doesn't want to do that because they're in the business of handing out free shit and changing the demographics because they don't want to have to politically appeal to the white males of the country who are typically small government minded and want lower taxes and want less government. The left can't appeal to them with their socialist agenda, and so they have to import people from big corrupt governments that are generally low IQ that are going to come in and immediately accept the government benefits and vote for more of them. So that's been the main agenda of the left, is to import voters instead of appealing to the majority base of the country.
Do you think it's that there's a danger in looking at society through that lens of, that group identity, and then, looking at the average IQ scores of those groups and letting that influence government policy?
Well, I don't want there to be any government policy. My main concern is that there is a big giant welfare state that exists. If we get rid of that, there's no problem. But we have to deal with reality. So there is a big welfare state, and so we have to look at the tendency of people to use that system. And low IQ immigrants overwhelmingly tend to use that system.
You don't want any government policy?
I'm an anarchist. I don't want there to be any government whatsoever.
Right. I don't know where to start with that, really. I do not know where to start that. I find these kind of concepts interesting because it's almost like communism. Where has your anarchism ever existed in history, and where?
Sorry, say it one more time. Sorry.
Where has your idea of anarchism or Stefan Molyneux's idea of how a society should be built, where's that ever existed, and where historically?
Well, that's the practical historical non-argument that, show me an iPhone before you create an iPhone. Well, will this iPhone exist? No, it's called innovation. It's called a new idea. It's called but it's also based on moral principles. It's like, before slavery was abolished, show me a society that's existed without slavery. How are we going to pick the cotton? You can never predict the innovations that will accrue after you have a moral revolution. It has to start with the morals. Taxation is theft. That's the point. And so we have the moral revolution, and we let the chips fall where they may. All I want is for there not to be an institution that systematically steals people's income and wealth and redistributes it to individuals who haven't earned it. That's all I want. That's the moral argument. And so whatever happens after that is going to happen. we let free market capitalism work as we've seen it work in the Industrial Revolution, and where small governments have existed all across the planet. We've seen the most prosperity in those situations. And so it's not about, oh, where has this libertarian utopia existed before? No, it's about the moral argument. It's about get the evil out of the equation and then let people make their own choices.
Right, and there's lots of great economic thinkers historically, right? Who've influenced government policy. Milton Friedman, for example, right, had a great impact on Reagan's economic philosophy, and it filtered into the real world and into government policy and how things played out in America. But can you name a serious economic thinker, a serious economist who support this idea of absolutely no government? And please don't say Stefan Molyneux.
Well, I'm.
Because he's serious. Good.
It's not fundamentally tied to economics. It's tied to morality. But I mean, Ayn Rand has from what I understand, argued for total free market capitalism. Murray Rothbard has made the same arguments. I'm not real sure whether Murray Rothbard was a minarchist or if he leaned more anarchist. But I mean, once you accept that taxation is theft, what justification can you have for any existence of government? I just don't see it.
Because it might be because it works. You might be purely pragmatic about it.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you don't like your ex-wife, killing her works, all right, to not pay her child support, but it's not moral, you understand? Just because something is practical and it works doesn't mean you should do it. Just because you need your cotton picked doesn't mean you should have slaves. Just because something is practical doesn't mean you should do it. You have to have some kind of moral principle backing up your actions, right?
Well, to a degree, but like I say, I think in government, in politics, you've got to be interested in. Oh, excuse me, sorry, I've got a child strangling me. Hang on a second. Holly, let me go get a coffee.
Is your child violating the non-aggression principle right now?
No, we don't necessarily practice the non-aggression principle in my house.
I know you don't, because you worship the warlord Muhammad.
We don't worship Muhammad. we venerate the guy.
And real quick, TMP is getting impatient here. He wants to call in. He wants to have some fair shine. So please make your closing arguments here.
Well, I don't really. I think I've said everything I need to say. What I would suggest to you is that you read some serious intellectuals other than Stefan Molyneux, and I'd start by suggesting Douglas Murray.
Okay, I've heard good things about Douglas Murray.
Yeah, get a copy of some Douglas Murray books, and they'll do you right. And the thing is, they're British, so they're just generally all round more eloquent and more nuanced than the brash American or Canadian philosophers and thinkers.
Well, I mean, that doesn't rustle my jimmies. I'm very brash. I'm very American. All right, I like some dragon energy. I like some testosterone to my arguments.
Yeah. Okay, well, if you want something a little bit more sophisticated, if you want to find cognac, take something British. If you want to continue drinking Bud Light or whatever, terrible.
I'm definitely trying to step up my alcohol game. I'm trying to make that more refined for sure, and that might coincide with the refinement of the arguments I consume as well.
Yeah. Maybe when you become more economically productive, you'll be able to afford these fine drinks.
Yes, indeed, sir. Well, it's been a pleasure, James Thompson. Always fun to chat.
All right. Good day to you.
All right, good night, buddy.
Bye.
All right, go ahead and call in TMP if you like to, sir. What's up, Kiki?
Beans, sausage, eggs, hash brown. Go get it, Jimmy.
I don't know what that means, but it made me hungry. Hello, is this TMP?
Yes.
Nice. It seems like you've got the delay worked out there.
A little bit.
Well, I don't know much about you, TMP. Well, whereabouts are you at here in the planet called Earth?
I'm in America, North Carolina. Pretty sure I already told you that, bro.
North Cackalack. I see you.
Yeah, you already know, bro.
There it is.
North Cackalack, man.
Well, props up to you for being up so late. Are you on that graveyard shift, or what's your sleep schedule like, dude?
Nah, I mean, I work third shift, but I'm off right now, bro.
That's beautiful.
That's why I'm still up, man.
Well, what's on your mind, brother? Glad you're hanging out with us.
The fucking fall of America, bro. Like, real talk. Like I was saying earlier to Nick, man. Like, I don't think Trump's to reverse this shit, dude. Like, I think we're fucked. Like, I really have no confidence. Like, even in Trump, man. Like, Trump is the man, bro. But like, I think we're fucked, dude.
Yeah.
Like, deep state is real, dude.
Yeah, it's a dire situation we're in right now because we've definitely got multiple bubbles brewing. The banks are still doing the bullshit they were doing before the 2008 crisis. Obama let them off the hook, so they just kept doing the same shit.
Obama really fucked America, man. He politicized every fucking government agency that he could possibly politicize, bro. We're still dealing with that fallout, man. I don't even know if it'll take decades to fix that shit, bro.
We still got the student loan bubble. I know I haven't made any payments on my student loans.
Same here, man. Like I said, somebody said I was black. And I'm like, bro, I'm white as snow, bro. And like, my nickname, like I said, my name in college is Casper, bro. Like, that's what I'm saying, dude. Like, yeah, I still owe $20,000, bro. Like,
you're not getting any sun down there in North Cackalack.
Yeah, if I could I'm getting sun, but I burn, bro. I burn. I don't tan, I burn.
Are you Irish?
I mean, I'm Welsh. I'm Welsh and German, Northern German.
Okay. Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
I tan up pretty good. It's weird. I got a little Dutch in me, so I'm German and Dutch.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so you know.
Well, there you go, bro. You're Dutch. Like, there you go, right there, bro. I'm Northern German and Welsh, bro. Like that's about as white as it gets, bro.
So yeah, I think Trump definitely. I mean, it's a catch-22 because he's got to cut entitlements. He's got to cut this government. But man, if you're asking for riots in the streets, go ahead and turn off those EBT cards. Like there are people that are just desperate and they're only depending on the government money, and it's fucked up, dude.
I mean, yeah, and the Democrats want to import more people that will be desperate for fucking the government dying because they know that they're losing black supporters. So they need another fucking vote base. So they need some fucking South Americans and Mexicans to vote for them. That's why they want open borders. Like, it's fucking self-evident.
And that's what I was trying to explain to James Thompson is it's not about, you know, the goddamn color of their skin generally. It's about the culture of where they're coming from and the.
Yeah, I don't give a fuck what your skin color is, man. I give a fuck what your ideology is. I don't give a fuck what your skin color is. I give a fuck what you believe. Like.
And when James says, so nice of Nick to take a black collar for once, hashtag end racism.
Bro, like, oh my god, wrong with white as snow. I really don't understand that shit, bro. Like, how many times I can tell you? I'm like, oh my god.
Sweet Chin says, does the caller know Nick is racist?
Racist against white? Dude, I'm white. I don't know how many times I can say that. Like, do I count black? Like, I don't understand, bro.
The chat is
like,
very.
Y'all see a picture of me, dude. Like, I'm as white as snow. Like, y'all really don't understand.
The chat
like,
is.
Nick,
the chat is very racist.
I'm about 3 or 4 shades lighter than you. That should tell you something, bro. Like, what's up, man? It's really like. No, also, I want to say, I want to ask you, like, what do you think about the FBI and CIA, though, man? I feel like they're like a Praetorian Guard for Rome, man. Like, they're picking and choosing who should be a leader, bro. Like, they really need to be reined in, man.
Yeah, and one of the first screenplays I wrote was about it was this wild ass comedy about a hillbilly motherfucker that I wanted Danny McBride to play, who gets caught up in the who gets caught up in the MK Ultra thing, and they set him up to be a patsy when they're trying to assassinate the president. But it's just the main thing is about the brazen criminality and the lack of accountability that these intelligence agencies have. Like, you can just see.
They have no fucking accountability. Like, who the fuck is it? Like, who's holding them accountable? The fucking Congress, the Democratic-run Congress.
I mean, the media pretends like they're God. Like these dudes like John Brennan. Like he quarterbacked the foreign policy that led to funding, arming, and training ISIS in the Middle East when we thought that they were rebels against Assad and against Gaddafi. And it's like,
that's what I'm like. Yeah, I don't understand that shit, man. Like, we go all throughout the world and just take out strong dictators and shit, and then just leave like a powder vacuum to be filled with even worse people. Like, it makes no fucking sense. Like, if we're gonna do that shit, we might as well just fucking take those countries over. Like, just annex those motherfuckers. Like, I really don't understand what the fuck we're doing with our foreign policy. It just makes no goddamn sense.
All we're doing is bleeding money. And then John Brennan sits up there and he gets hired by CNN as some kind of contributor and expert, and he sits up there
live on national TV every day, every night, like just bullshitting, lying to the American public, just like fucking Trump, James Comey, just like what's that fucking Four Eyes name? Like, what's his fucking name? Cena just hired his punk ass.
But John Brennan sits up there and calls Trump the traitor for talking to Putin. Oh my God, he talked to Putin in a private conversation. The treason.
Yeah, and we're just want to get fucking information from the Russians to frame Trump and shit. Like, almost I was about to say almost coup d'etat, but it's pretty fucking clear it was a fucking coup d'etat, at least an attempted one. And of course, Democrats can't do anything right, can't do anything competently, so it was a failed coup d'etat.
It's so.
They're trying this shit again with Ukraine bullshit. Like, all he did was ask, okay, so because you're fucking a political opponent, like, you can't investigate corruption because this motherfucker is running against you. What type of bullshit is that? So I should kill somebody, and as long as I'm running against the president, like, I just got away with murder? What fucking sense does that make? Like, it's pretty much the same shit. Like,
yeah, meanwhile, Hillary Clinton's campaign pays Christopher Steele to go over and make up this fake story about Trump and the Russian hookers. And it's like, oh, that's all fine.
Man, don't even bring up that reptilian bitch, man. That's what makes me think Alex Jones is right. Like, that bitch is reptilian, man. Like, oh my God, man. And she's talking like Trump is corrupt. Like, it's ridiculous, bro. Like, I don't even understand how she can even say that. Like, I mean, she has no gut. I mean, she's an evil bitch, so of course she could say shit like that.
And then they use that Steele dossier in the corrupt FBI, like you were talking about, and James Comey comes to him with the fake fucking dossier, and it's like, oh, it'd be a real shame if this got leaked to the media. And,
this motherfucker didn't even, like, when he was in the UK, like, when he was fucking, like, when he was supposed to, like, when he was testifying and shit, he even back up some bullshit. Like, what the fuck? Like, it just doesn't make any, like, it's just ridiculous, bro. Like, the media is so fucking corrupt in this country. I used to think British media was corrupt. Like, fuck, man. It's just ridiculous, bro.
Yeah, it's weird because it's like, I don't know to what degree the media gets government subsidies, but they're such lapdogs now. It's like, I don't know what it seems to like coincide with the rise of the clickbait culture, and like everything has to be getting the most attention, and the 24-hour news cycle, and
yeah, but it's money for them, dude. Like, I mean, it's not just money because they're political activists too. But it's like a rage culture, like give out like like racist bullshit, or partisan bullshit, or hyperbolic bullshit. You get more clicks doing that shit. It's all about money, man.
Well, Tatiana,
and of course, they got a political narrative too.
By the way, Tatiana says you sound sexy as fuck. All right, she apparently likes the bass in your voice down there in North Carolina.
Oh yeah, got that dark ass voice, you already know.
He's black below the belt and in the vocal cords. All right.
Oh man, but like, I mean, it's just ridiculous, man, and like, it's just fucking ridiculous.
And
it's pretty clear what they're doing, man.
It's funny, dude. I go to the gym and I see like, this is like the only place that just broadcasts CNN, and it's like every day.
Airports, restaurants, gyms. That's where they get all their fucking coverage. Nobody watches fucking CNN. Like, nobody watches that bullshit. Like.
Yeah, and you go to their YouTube videos.
To a gym, like that's what's playing up there. It's never anything else, man. Like,
and you go to their
reason they're fucking failing.
And you go to their YouTube videos, and it's like mostly down likes, mostly down votes.
Oh yeah, it doesn't allow fucking voting and comments and shit because they already know, like, they're full of shit, man.
That's
what the fuck they're doing.
That's what gives me hope is the communicative capacity of the internet, and that you read the YouTube comments, and the YouTube, everybody shits on YouTube comments. YouTube comments are pretty good at spotting bullshit. They're pretty good.
Absolutely.
They're pretty good at it's generally it's what would be considered a right-wing slant. But it's really just a slant toward the truth, because the left has become so false and so fake and so out of control, retarded that it.
Yeah, a right wing slant these days. If you're to the right or to the left of a fucking communist, like, you're a right winger at this point.
Yeah,
that's
like
how fucking crazy it is.
Yeah, like George Carlin and Bill Hicks in their days, they were considered like hard left. If they were alive today,
Carlin, he was hard left back in the day.
They would be considered alt-right.
Fucking libertarian at this point, damn near. Like, Jesus Christ. I mean, I know that's hyperbolic, but like, it's just ridiculous to the point we're getting. But like, I really blame universities, man. Like I said, like, I got college debt and shit. Okay. But I'll give you a real life story. Like, I was in a sociology class. I've been drinking. All right, I'm trying to pronounce that word right.
No, hold on one second. Sorry, buddy.
Teacher said there was no difference between male
hold on 1 second.
Biologically.
Hold on 1 second. Hold on 1 second, TMP. I want to listen.
Yeah.
I want to listen to your story, but I really got to piss really bad.
All right, go ahead, bro.
And so we're gonna
don't piss your pants, bro.
we're gonna take an outrage piss, and I'm gonna play some music here. We'll be right back.
All right, do you, bro? Somebody was talking shit about North Carolina earlier. Fuck you, man. Where the fuck do you live? I need to remember the way. Yeah, bro. Still Lego. It's like Michael Jackson, bro. You caught me. I'm actually not Welsh or Northern German. I'm sub-Saharan African. You caught me.
All right. Okay, we're back.
See that? Switch in. You caught me, dude. I got Bill Lego, bro.
You on that Sammy Sosa?
He caught me, bro.
You on that Sammy Sosa?
I'm albino black.
Oh shit! Well, go ahead with your story. You were talking about university.
Yeah, man. Like, let me tell you a real story. I was taking a sociology class.
Oh, that's the worst.
This bitch. I legit walked out of the class. I just said, fuck it, I don't even give a fuck about the $150 I paid for this class. This bitch said there's no difference between males and females biologically. I was like, bro, I'm done with this shit, man. Like, y'all are just propagandizing us, bro. Like, this is fucking bullshit. Like, it's just ridiculous, bro. Like, Wake Tech, man. North Carolina Wake Tech, bro. Like, it's like the biggest college, bro. The biggest, like, public college in North Carolina. Like, bullshit, man.
Well, what that is fundamentally to me is the communist subversion of the universities, because Joseph McCarthy was right. All right, the communists, they lost the war, but they have infiltrated our institutions. And so from a communist perspective, they look through the lens of the state. So from the lens of the state, males and females are exactly the same. All they are tax cattle. All they are individuals to be extracted, the resources to be extracted. So they want the women to work, they want the men to work the same amount of hours, they want them to get paid the same amount so the government can take the same amount out of their check. And feminists buy into
family, get everybody to work, make sure everybody's controlled.
Yeah.
Make sure there's no censored, they can't really express their true feelings about anything, because they know if they do, then shit's gonna get real for them. It's all about control and power, man. That's really all this shit's about, bro. And then
the state gets to raise your children while both of the parents are at work.
Oh, absolutely. You don't even get to raise your children the way you want to raise them anymore. If you don't raise your children right, the state takes them. Foster care takes them. I was just watching news earlier today, and like they were talking about a mother who was like it was like literally a father and mother fighting. And the mother was literally telling her 8-year-old son or 7-year-old son that he was a female, and the father was saying he was a male. And like the mother was saying that it was child abuse. Like the father was abusing the child by saying that, like telling him he was a fucking male when he's a biological male. Like this is where we're at today. Like, it's fucking ridiculous, man.
And the assumption of transgenderism is it totally debunks their own theory, because they're saying a boy is born with a female brain. Well, if males and females are the same, how is there a male and female brain? I thought we were the same.
Bro, the amount of contradictions in these motherfuckers' ideology, bro. Like you just point it out all day, every day. They'll just ignore every contradiction you point out and just call you racist or stupid or ignorant. Like, there's really no arguing with these people, man. Like, there really isn't. Like, it's like arguing with a Christian or a Muslim or some shit, man.
Yeah.
I don't bring religion to this shit. It's to prove the point. Like, you just
no, it's a good analogy. It's a good analogy. They are religious fundamentalists.
Yeah, they really are. Like, it's the new fucking religion, man. Like, it really is. Like, you just replace, one fucking monotheistic religion with another one, man. Pretty much, like.
And it's easier
you replace, God and the state. That's really the only difference.
Yeah, it's easy. It's easier to hook into people with it, because you don't have to believe that some dude named Jesus who you've never met was a zombie who walked on water. You don't have to believe that. No, you just have to believe that based on your skin color and based on your genitalia, you're being discriminated against. And the white male patriarchy, cisgender, oppressors, they just wake up in the morning with their predator vision and how can we oppress today? Who are we gonna take advantage of? It's like,
yeah, man, it's just bullshit, man. Like, that's what I'm saying, man. Like it's like, and then like the fucking fucking Harvard, dude. Like the Supreme, like Obama judge said that it's okay to discriminate against Asians. You know what I'm saying? Like that's bullshit too. Like that doesn't help black people. How does that help black people by letting them into a culture?
Oh yeah, it's the same thing with affirmative action. It's like you can't tell.
That's exactly what I'm talking about.
You can't tell if that person, if that individual who happens to be black, you can't tell if they earned it legitimately or if they just got passed on by some bullshit social program, and so they end up getting lumped into the same category, and the employers are like, well, I don't know if they're competent or not. I don't know if they can do the job or not. They're just,
Yeah, I see what college they went to, so I'm just gonna go ahead and take a look and I'm gonna gamble on it and say what the fuck is, like, let's see what's up. Like
it hurts the intelligent black people the most because they would have legitimately got through, and now it's like they're lumped in with the dumbasses that were just passed through because of their skin color.
Yeah, and it's like, do I really want to hire this person? Like, do I really know if it's confident or not? Like, do I really want to take that risk? Like, it makes no fucking sense. Like, it's like, okay, we're discriminating based off to try to stop, like, I don't even know. Like, really discriminate based off of race for diversity? Like, I don't even understand the fucking logic to it, honestly. It just makes no fucking sense to me.
Oh my god, these slanderous hashtags, dude. They're hashtagging airtight Nick. They are hashtagging nut milk Nick, dude. God damn it! Blasphemy!
Man.
Fuck!
Man.
So TMP, what is your ultimate solution for Western civilization? What do we need to do?
Fuck. That's a big question. We need to do a lot of shit, man. Woke culture needs to be exterminated. That's the first thing we need to do.
What culture?
Woke culture needs to be exterminated. That's the first thing we need to do. That's the first thing that comes to the top of my head.
And the best thing I think to do that is mockery. And what we do on the Outrage Battleship is making fun of them because that triggers them the most. And it makes them look retarded.
It triggers them, but like, does it do more than it's like, I feel like we've been mocking them for 5 to 6 years at least. And it seems like they've gotten more powerful in that time.
Well, in the mainstream culture, they've gotten more powerful, but the mainstream culture is dying. Like the mainstream media, the mainstream avenues of comedy. Like I look at it from a comedy lens, like Saturday Night Live. Like nobody watches Saturday Night Live anymore. They're not.
No, that shit is fucking trash.
They're not prioritizing funny. They're prioritizing what's safe and what's acceptable in the leftist paradigm. And so
it's really it's really just political activism, man.
Yeah, and so that is slowly dying. And so the grassroots is coming up, and the internet capacity to share information. As long as we can get around the censorship, I think the cream is going to rise to the top. And so I think that's going to eradicate the woke horseshit of people that are obsessed with their goddamn skin color and genitalia. Oh my God, I'm so awake because I'm obsessed with my goddamn melanin count. Goddamn moron. You know? And
yeah, man, I really hope you're right, man. But I don't even know, man. Like, I'm still pretty young, but like, I'm not really. I don't even know, man. I feel like those motherfuckers are taking over. Like, and Trump's in office for like 3 years, and shit does not shit really hasn't changed that much. At least like woke culture wise.
Yeah.
Seems like those motherfuckers have got even more toxic, more vitriolic, more. They're just more fucking crazy and psycho. Like,
Yeah, well, it's not winning them any political points, and as long as we can avoid a major catastrophe like Trump getting impeached, I don't think the Senate is going to vote to impeach Trump. I think that's all a smoke screen.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And Senate is not going to vote for impeachment.
And so they're having these big smoke screens of the Russia investigation and the impeachment thing just to keep Trump on his back foot, to keep him from implementing the agenda. I think he's going to win a landslide in 2020, and so we're going to really see what he can do with a fresh slate in his second term. But we gotta cut the size of government and just keep the socialist, piranhas at bay. And as long as we can do that and get some legitimate small business and entrepreneurship and keep the middle class alive, I think we have a possibility of growing out of potential crises. But it's the long march, all right, of truth through the jungle of propaganda here.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
I've made this analogy before. We're like the goddamn Predator movie, dude. We're out here. We're heavily muscled up. We're oiled up, dude. We got fucking, we got our guns and we got our firearms too, dude. We're out here with eye black on. We're hunting the predators. We're taking out the predatory ideas, dude. Come and get it.
Yeah, man.
We're out of here, baby.
I'm just not as confident as you, man. Like, I'm really worried, man. It just seems like it's getting worse and worse, man. But if Trump can do what he wants to do, if he's able to do what he wants to do, then yeah, it will be a game changer.
Well,
but everything he tries to do, he stops. Slander and bullshit is thrown at him every single fucking day.
Well, my advice would be to don't depend on Trump. Don't depend on a politician. Do whatever you can in your own life to wake people up in your own life and do some weighted dips, all right, and put a bandana on, all right, maybe put some eye black on, and and maybe oil up and pose in the mirror, and just get your
Rambo style, man.
If we all become our own personal versions of Rambo and Arnold Schwarzenegger, all right, the Western civilization shall be defended, and they shall not defeat.
Yeah, they wouldn't stand a chance, bro. Yeah, if we all stood up like that, it would be a game changer. But
just do what you can. Get as much pussy as you can, and get as big as you can, all right, and defend Western civilization at every opportunity, and I think we shall prevail.
I'm explanatory. The Western civilization is the best civilization. All the Western media will say it's white supremacy, but that's just self-explanatory to me. It's pretty fucking obvious.
It's just demonizing white people unnecessarily. Just because we want to preserve our own culture doesn't mean we think we're superior to anybody else.
Yeah, exactly. If you're black, you're allowed to have any, what I'm saying, black culture, we didn't preserve this. This is a good thing, just represent, black culture. But if a white person does that, oh, you're racist. Oh, that's not okay. Oh, you're fucking a piece of shit for that. Fuck you, bro.
And it's all coming from the left because they can't convince white people to vote for them because their ideas are such bullshit.
Dog shit. Yeah, they're fucking dog shit. So they gotta shame white people into feeling guilty for what their ancestors did. Like any other races of people didn't do fucked up shit in the past. It's fucking ridiculous. So white people are just so bad for buying slaves. Africans, who won battles against other Africans, sold those Africans to white people. But we're the ones who are supremely guilty. Come on, bro. We all have our sins.
Yeah, it's people think that white privilege is some revolutionary concept. Oh my God, these white people are universally evil. White privilege. And it's nobody can.
That the white privilege should piss me off too. I've been broke as fuck since day one, living in North Carolina and shit.
But the point is,
where is my white privilege? I know, what's that motherfucker's name, man? God damn, it's a comedian, but he would say, like, I need some motherfuckers with sweaters, but I'm too tank tops in the winter, you know what I'm saying? Like, I wish I had fucking white privilege, Theo something. It's like Theo Vaughn or some shit.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Theo Vaughn. Theo Vaughn is dope.
It's like, I need some motherfuckers with sweaters.
But it's like, it's a white majority country. It's like nobody complains about Chinese privilege in China. It's like, yeah, it's mostly us. We kind of set the shit up for us. It's like hilarious when people use it as an insult. Like, oh, you're just white privilege. It's like, oh, so you're saying my ancestors, like, oh, your ancestors had a lot of rational self-interest. It's like, yeah, dude.
Therefore, your rational self-interest is bullshit and racist. You can fuck yourself. Like, no, that doesn't make any goddamn sense. You can go fuck yourself. Like, what the fuck? Like,
yeah. That
doesn't make any goddamn sense.
It's the one question white people can never ask, according to the left, is what's in it for us? What's in it for us?
That's also your racist shit and you're off as the community. If you ask especially if you're white as fuck like me. I don't that to my voice, so shit, but
well, all right, TMP. What's your first name? Because I don't like the goddamn acronym. Say it again.
Thomas.
All right, base Thomas out there in North Cackalack. All right, very goddamn enjoyable chat. All right, I'm gonna sign off. I'm gonna sign off of the Skype here, and then have my last beer and commiserate with the Outrage crew. But it's very enjoyable. Glad to chat with you, brother.
All right, man. It was good talking to you, bro. I appreciate it.
All right, have a good night, man.
Yeah, you too, man.
One more Rolling Rock, Outrage crew. All right, based albino. There you go. Alan James says, I like how Nick is getting back to his KKK roots with these calls. His granddad would be proud. Dude, my grandpa, he was very racist, but he was not a KKK grand wizard, all right? He would say crazy racist shit all the time, but we would always be over at his house because, he was racist, but he could also smoke one hell of a brisket. All right, so we'd be over at Pop's house, and we'd be watching football, and he'd be, one of the teams would have a black quarterback, and he'd be sitting back saying, hey, that shit ain't gonna work. What are they thinking? He don't know the playbook. He's just out there running around like a chicken with his head cut off. He don't know what he's doing. And I'm like, Pop, that's not necessarily true. He might know the plays, and god damn, these ribs are falling off the bone, Pop. What the fuck? These are delicious. And then he'd see the white backup quarterback on the sideline. He'd be like, put him in. He knows what the fuck he's doing. He's studied up. He can read the defense. And I'm like, Pop, you don't know that that's necessarily true, Pop. This brisket is so goddamn tender. This is unbelievable. But he was an equal opportunity employer, all right? He ran a contracting business. He was a carpenter, all right? He hired everybody of all ethnicities, He was not some KKK grand wizard, all right? Because you can't have a KKK rally and a barbecue at the same time. You're going to drip that sauce all over your costume and be like, God damn it! I just got this dry cleaned. Black people's fault. It doesn't mix. All right, good night, sweet chin, you bad motherfucker. Denise says, I remember Joe Rogan asking Candace Owens, you aren't concerned about climate change? And laughing, Candace answered, not even a little bit. Then Joe lectured her and changed the mood. Yeah, Joe is a climate change religious advocate. he is totally bought into the religion of climate change, and, you know, he hasn't objectively evaluated any of the goddamn failures of their predictions or any of the, you know, lack of evidence for any of their claims. It's just an appeal to authority. Oh, all the scientists say, oh, do you deny the science? There is no science. All right, good night, Good night, Dave Craddock. Kiki is recommending a video where a crab bites a man's testicles. I don't necessarily want to see that. All right. I know as a woman you think it's, you know, funny when, you know, men get their testicles hurt, but, you know, we don't generally like watching those things. Denise says, yeah, he was a huge jerk. Yeah, and then he used that to discount Candace Owens completely because she was a skeptic on climate change. And, you know, it goes against everything Joe Rogan claims to represent is some kind of rational skepticism. But he's totally bought in to, you know, first of all, the idea that, you know, government should provide welfare for people, and all because he was raised on welfare, and also the climate change thing for some goddamn reason. I haven't figured out why he's bought into the climate change thing. But, you know, there's no evidence that supports it whatsoever. And he doesn't have a rational skepticism of government enough. Blob City, I don't know if Rogan is CIA. I just think, you know, he tries desperately to be a centrist, and he picks and chooses his issues, and he has no real rational evaluation of the goddamn evidence. Sweet Chin says, when are we going to start going hard on Rogan? No, I still tend to like Joe Rogan. Because he's done good. He's done good for, you know, the comedy community and for, you know, critical thinking in general. And he's had a lot of, you know, he's had a lot of smart individuals on his podcast. He's not someone to look to, you know, to be inspired by his ideas or, you know, or his thinking. And he's a lot more right wing than he wants to admit. But he desperately wants to still say that he's some kind of liberal. And he has an outdated, you know, version of the term liberal, by the way. Liberal means personal freedom. It doesn't mean, you know, making excuses for the existence of a government. But he has these long-standing relationships with these cucked out Hollywood agents and managers. And he desperately wants to maintain those relationships. And so he doesn't go hard in the paint and get to the actual truth. And it's, some people don't have a fidelity to the truth. Some people just want to appeal to the widest audience possible. And, you know, we're not sitting up here and saying that, you know, everybody has to have a hardcore dedication to the truth like the Outrage Chancellor attempts to do. All right, it's a tough road to travel, but that's the road we're going down. All right, because, you know, Joe Rogan claims to be inspired by individuals like Bill Hicks, but he doesn't have a fidelity to the truth like Bill Hicks had. And it's fine. Not everybody can do that. All right, that's for the Outrage Chancellor to do. And I'm glad that Joe Rogan is leaving an opening for the Outrage Chancellor. I'm glad that, you know, he's not, you know, having a true fidelity to the truth and he's, you know, waffling and wafting and, you know, and kind of sitting on the fence and pretending to be objective. And, you know, pretending objective means, you know, playing devil's advocate constantly. And it's fine, dude. But Joe Rogan is one of the main inspirations for me to get into comedy and come out to Los Angeles. And he helped me in a time of depression when I didn't know what to do with my life, and I started listening to the Joe Rogan podcast, and I started working out, I started eating right, and I got into comedy. And so I'll always have an allegiance to Joe Rogan in that aspect. Culturally and lifestyle wise, all right, he provides a lot of value. But when it comes to philosophical truth and economic understanding, he's very lacking. All right, but he can help you lifestyle wise. Denise says, libertarian is the freedom one. Liberal is the radical left. No, I can be corrected if I'm wrong. I'm open. People who call themselves liberal in 2019 are generally radical left. But the term liberal has been co-opted. The original meaning is much closer to the libertarian idea of individual freedom. That's what liberal was traditionally meaned. But now it just means you're a big government communist who wants to redistribute income because you're a lazy, flat-nutted fuck. Sweet Chin says, if you like Rogan so much, Nick, it's up to you to straighten your friend. Well, he inspired me to do comedy. He inspired me to work out. He inspired me to get my diet right. And I've seen him live do comedy, and he made me laugh out loud multiple times. All right. And so, as short as he is, I respect the man. And not everybody can be a paragon of truth. It's a lot to expect from an individual, and not everybody can save Western civilization, and that's the role of the Outrage Chancellor. It's fine. And I have had thousands of hours of enjoyment listening to the man's podcast, so I'm not going to sit here and trash him like I don't listen to his podcast. Aaron Freeman's here for a setup for a joke. What's the worst part of liking Joe Rogan? What is it, Aaron Freeman? Telling your parents you're gay. God damn it! Oh, fuck, dude. That is not a part of liking Joe Rogan. God damn it. I understand you guys are in the Owen Benjamin cult. And you want a reason to trash Joe Rogan just because Owen Benjamin's very resentful about Joe. What I don't like is, him like censoring people's comments on the podcast. Like he told Nick DiPaolo not to bring up Owen Benjamin on the podcast. Very gay. Very sneaky activity. And he doesn't want to bring up Owen. And, it's understandable that Joe doesn't want to bring him up. But Joe did back up Owen when he came out against the transgender kids. Joe is against transgender kids. As simple of an argument as that is, all right, Joe Rogan does support that. As short as he is, as close in height as he is to the average kid, All right, that's why I think he empathizes with the transgender kids, and why he realizes it's wrong is because he's so, close in height to the children, and he recognizes that they are not, mentally, they don't have the mental capacity to be able to commit to that kind of lifestyle choice. And I did listen to the Roseanne episode, and she did bring up Owen Benjamin. I can't remember the context she brought him up in. She was, reciting a conversation she had with Owen or something. I don't know. I like Roseanne. Kiki says Owen saw the dark side of Hollywood and it scared him. Same with Keanu Reeves. Yeah. But I'm not ready to give up on Hollywood. I love movies too much. I love the comedy clubs out here too much. All right, it can be reformed. It can be reformed with a lot of dragon energy and a lot of goddamn Midwestern elbow grease. All right, we're going to get in there and change the goddamn culture. Rogan did it with the Comedy Store and calling out Carlos Mencia for joke thieving. And he was banished from the Comedy Store for a while. And then he became, the king of podcasting and came back to the Comedy Store and took the motherfucker over. And the Outrage Chancellor can do the same goddamn thing. All right, now in the age of the internet, we don't have to go through the traditional cucked out channels of slurping managers out here and appeasing casting directors in order to get jobs. We just have to amass an audience on the internet, and we have to, prove our salt on the stand-up stages, and it shall be done, and we shall take over Hollywood. Fronthole says, that's right, Nick. Give the pedos another chance. What? What are you talking about? Kiki says, the higher up you go, the further you go down the rabbit hole in LA. Yeah, we're not trying to go high up. We're not trying to, make connections with these establishment cretin Hollywood types. We're just trying to be, live in Hollywood. All right. Do our own thing and take over by the volition of our goddamn, our contributions and our goddamn value we provide. I'm in a lane of my own out here in Hollywood, dude. Nobody's defending Western civilization. Nobody's making the arguments the Outrage Chancellor is making. All right, nobody's as real and as raw on stage as the Outrage Chancellor. And that's what we shall provide. Seems like we're getting some posts on Discord. All right, Alan James, usually the only time he tells me to check Discord is when he makes a roast. When he makes a roast video of the Outrage Chancellor, and it looks like Alan James, he hasn't commented in a while. It looks like he's been making a goddamn blasphemous roast video. And we're going to watch it because Alan James is the first mate on the Outrage Battleship. And, we can only assume this is going to be very goddamn blasphemous. And I'm just prefacing. And he's made a video, out of this current stream that we're on. It's very self-referential. It's very weird, but we're gonna watch it. Let's check out what Alan James, the blasphemy he has purveyed upon the Outrage Chancellor now. Let's see here. Alan James says, I like how Nick is getting back to his KKK roots with these calls. His granddad would be proud. grandpa, you know, he was very racist, but he was not a KKK Grand Wizard, all right? He was... Look at this photograph. Oh, damn. And Alan James made a photograph, all right, with a very beautiful picture of the outraged chancellor, all right. Unfortunately, next to some hooded individuals, all right, and it was not intended, all right. You know, I mean, it was not intended, all right. It's kind of like this. It's kind of like this scene. You know, when I'm in the throes of the 8 Mile activity, you never know what could happen. You know, you throw up that champion hood, and all of a sudden, man, I had to raise his grandpa, right? It's fine, dude. It's fucking fine, all right? He did not influence my views on goddamn immigration. God damn it. Denise says, well, Joe was like a mental patient with Candace and it was awkward. I guess that was the last thing I ever saw of him. It was quite remarkable. I lost respect for him. Yeah. He's not an empirical thinker. He's not, you know, he's not clued into all the arguments. He's from the old school where it's like, oh, being a liberal means, you know, you're tolerant of people's butthole activity and you support welfare. And that's like being a liberal. It's not about individual freedom. It's not about any principles, you know, against the evil of government or anything, or, you know, rational or empirical. It's just about, you know, your subjective preference and what you think is, what you think is empathetic and being a nice guy. We're just going to steal the money and give it to the poor people because we're nice. It's not nice, dude. Owen James says, just embrace it, Nick. Embrace the goddamn KKK. Dude. The KKK doesn't even exist. All right. And it's very sad. All right. I wish they did. I wish I had some kind of community out here. You know, but the KKK, they've gone by, you know, they've gone by the wayside, you know. So I just have to be alone. I have to be rogue out here, you know, in my beliefs about, you know, the low IQ of immigrants and you know, the socialist, you know, tyranny coming upon us, you know, and defending Western civilization. You know what that means? Outrage crew. God damn it. Oh, G Prime says, can you put the link to Discord? Yes, sir. Yes, sirree. Get on that Discord, dude. I'm not in the KKK, dude. Neither is TMP. We just have a lack of melanin. All right, Thomas is out there in North Carolina. We have a lack of melanin. We just want to preserve our own culture, dude. It's not about superiority. Fuck! God damn it, dude. Although the Outrage Chancellor does feel a little superior because he has the, he has the white man's IQ, all right, with the black man's penis size, it leads to thoughts of superiority, and we're tamping down the tyrannical impulses. I am German. I'm trying not to take things over, all right? Trying to get on the individual freedom tip, dude. Trying to let people make voluntary choices, but they're so goddamn propagandized. All right, it leads to temptations of, tyrannical takeovers. I desperately don't want to use the lever of government to control people, but my German impulses lead me otherwise, dude. If Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez runs for president when she's 35, all right, the Outrage Chancellor will be 35. His stand-up career will be flourishing. All right, his YouTube career will be flourishing. I will have the political capital to run against her and save Western civilization. And I might do it. I might run against power. I might amass some power, dude, and fulfill my German genetics. Aaron Freeman says, what's wrong with being in the KKK? Well, it is after Labor Day. I can't be going around wearing white. It's very unfashionable, and I can't eat barbecue in my all white, or else I'm going to drip some goddamn barbecue sauce on the costume. So it's very problematic. Although the Outrage Chancellor, for his views on immigration and the welfare state, he's going to be called racist regardless, so I might as well double down. I might as well get a white champion hoodie and pull the hood up on the Outrage cast. Why not? We might get some more viewers in here if I get a big pointy white hood, and I just make the same arguments I already make, and I don't make any reference to race, and I just have the pointy white hood. Sweet Chin says, go as a ghost this Halloween, Nick. Very spooky. Dude, I might get a white champion hoodie for Halloween. We might do a KKK episode of the Outrage cast. Just to defend white culture. Alright, it's not about supremacy. It's about preserving Western civilization, dude. Alright? It's about having pride, alright, in your ancestors and not being ashamed of it. Dude, what would the world without white people look like? You wouldn't have any goddamn iPhones. You wouldn't have any electricity. You wouldn't have any internet. It would be like Liberia, dude. It'd be goddamn heroin dens on every street. Human trafficking going on all around you. Fuck. Aren't you glad that white people exist? That just comforted me to say that. That was like a warm Snuggie. That was like putting on a Snuggie fresh out of the goddamn dryer, dude. When I just said that, aren't you glad that white people exist? Oh. That was like a little shot of morphine. Shout out to Dave Cranick. Aren't you glad that white people exist? Oh. Oh, fuck. I could go as Simple Jack, it wouldn't take much power, wouldn't take much effort, dude. What's up from outside space? He says jet fuel doesn't melt fucking steel beams. Hashtag look into it. Oh my god, it's been a long time coming. All right, I think Kevin Pollard Jr. just I think Kevin Pollard Jr. is coming right now from that comment. Front hole says there's a bug on my shirt. I know there was a goddamn bug buzzing around here. He better not be on the Outrage chat, sir. Damn it. I better not have a fucking bug bite. Get the fuck out of here, dude. I feel like I should do a tribute to Justin Trudeau and go in my Arabian Nights face. You know, I'm gonna really confuse people. All right, I'm gonna go Arabian Nights face, but I'm gonna get a champion hoodie that's pointy. All right, and I'm gonna look like a black dude in the KKK. I'm gonna do the opposite of the, No, I'm going to do like the Dave Chappelle sketch, the black white supremacist. That's how we're going to go viral on the Outrage cast. I will do full blackface, and I will wear a pointy champion hoodie. I know you weren't joking, front hole. There was a goddamn bug buzzing around here. Fuck! I see him now. All right, we got a beat on the bug here. The bug will not survive. And there's a wing from the bug on my arm. This is very creepy. I don't know if you can see that. Alright, but I just had... Apparently I took a wing off of the bug. I don't know if you can see that in the camera. That is very goddamn creepy, dude. The fucking bug! It's like these goddamn illegal immigrants. This bug wants to come in here and get on welfare. And it's unacceptable, dude. We're not putting up with it. We're done. There's nothing on my right shoulder. This is propaganda. I'm being propagandized. Aaron Freeman says, what shoulders? God damn it! I'm being gaslit. I'm being propagandized. I'm basically the goyim being manipulated here. Don't treat me like a goyim. I am not your goy toy, dude. Sweet Chin knows what it is. I don't think Sweet Chin's even here anymore. I'm not your goy toy. I'm not your goddamn tax cattle, dude, but the tax cattle are communicating, much to the chagrin of the deep state tyrants. This fucking bug! He's buzzing around here, dude. The tax cattle, the tax cattle are communicating. I can feel the bug in my hair. God damn it. This is bug out of here, dude. Get these illegal immigrants out of my country. Fuck. This bug just wants to come in here and siphon off my goddamn wealth. And I'm done. I'm done with it. Alright, Outrage crew. You bad motherfuckers. You know what it is, dude. We're on this new world order. We're on this new world order for Western civilization. We're flexing on the goddamn cultural Marxist. We're not letting them stop us, dude. We're flexing on them. You know what it is, dude?
The biggest icon in wrestling.
Outrage crew for life, baby.
The biggest icon in wrestling.
What's what the fuck it is, dude? You know what it is, baby. It's the Outrage crew, dude. Air Guitar Nick. That's the hashtag, not Airtight Nick. God damn it. We love the Outrage crew. Alright, despite the insurrection. Alright, despite the individuals we make walk the plank. It's fine, dude. Every night we defend Western civilization. We love you bad motherfuckers. Hit that like button if you like it. We got to pay this rent out here at paypal.me/Outrage TV if you want to contribute to the Roof Preservation Fund. Alright, we got to make some shekels out here. We got to get out here and make it happen, ladies and gentlemen. Bitcoin address is below. Venmo is below. If you'd like to contribute to the Outrage Chancellor, if you like what we're doing right here. Alright, contribute and see the ideas be proliferated and see the Outrage Chancellor grow, see the Outrage Cast grow, see the ideas be proliferated among Western civilization and see us take over Hollywood. We're doing it independent, dude. We're going outside the system. You know? We're sneaking around and we're face fucking them at least when they expect it. I love all you bad motherfuckers. Alright. We shall be back. I might work out tomorrow night. I might stream. I'm yet to be, you know. Depends on the PayPal donations. Depends on, the dragon energy that I feel tomorrow. We shall see. Alright. Hoping to get a bunch of tips on Postmates. Alright. We're trying to pay that goddamn rent. We're still $600+ short, dude. We're trying to get it. Alright. Peace the fuck out to the Outrage crew. This was a fun one. I love all you bad motherfuckers. Hope you have a beautiful rest of your night. Peace the fuck. The illegal immigrants! You're not getting my welfare! Fuck! You know what it is, you bad motherfuckers. I'll see you later.